What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and very excited to bring you guys our newest 20-year rebuild, where we are starting in the 2011 season. Better known, Madden 12 is our starting point, and the team that we are starting with here today is that team right there, the cover athlete, the Cleveland Browns with Peyton Hillis. So let's see what we're inheriting with. Let's take a look at Pat Shurmur's Browns here in 2011. Look at some of our star players of the time. Back in this little time capsule of what we're going on in Madden 12. We got Joe Thomas, 96. Peyton Hillis, cover athlete, was a 91. Alex Mack, 89. Veteran tight end Ben Watson there. We have Josh Cribbs, one of the most dynamic return man of all time. Joe Hayden is in his peak right now. Year 2, University of Florida, 85 rated. Now, what would this roster look like? We poured it all over into Madden 26. Now take a look at our player ratings as we port them over from Madden 12 all the way to Madden 26. Some of the ratings don't transfer as good. Like Benjamin Watson was like, what, 88? Now he's a 78. Everyone else, for the most part, there was a couple other players that might have harshly got regressed, but I'd say like 85% are fine. So looking at our offense here, cornerstone pieces, guys we need to rely on. We got Alex Mack and Joe Thomas on the offensive line, both superstar devs, both were the top players of their position at this time. We have Josh Cribbs, who we gave a superstar dev trait. That is only because we want him to have the return man ability. As far as a receiver is concerned, yeah, 69 catching, 71 short route running, 67 medium route running. He's a gadget guy at best. We got to find a creative way to utilize him. We have the cover athlete here, Peyton Hillis, 91 superstar. One of my favorite players. He just had to be there, man. So many people like the meme on that cover athlete. You had to freaking be there. The way that he took the league over by storm, made the Cleveland Browns one of the must-see football, because they had this 250-pound, did it all. Catching, running, truck people. It was a human highlight reel that year. You just had to be there. Don't disrespect my king. But outside of the kind of the big names here, there's a lot that we need to get better at. I mean, Steinbach, he's kind of a band-aid at left guard with that rating. We have Jordan Cameron at tight end. He might be able to develop into something for sure. Greg Little has an interesting skill set, but this is an offense that I think is going to struggle if we can't run the football. We have Colt McCoy at quarterback, was an iconic Texas quarterback in college, but in the NFL had a noodle arm. Never had an NFL arm. 80 throw power. Does have some accuracy, so maybe we can work on that in the time being, but we're going to get to a change. We had that little break. I took the feedback from the first 20-year rebuilds. I have a slight change on how we're going to handle the draft classes as we go through it, which I think is going to be the best of both worlds. And I will get to that in just one second. But it's not like the Cleveland Browns have a great hit rate of quarterbacks, so we might be stuck with Colt McCoy longer than expected. The defensive side of the ball, it's a mixed bag for sure. Like Phil Taylor was a first-round bust. Ruben solid. Jamal Sheard might be able to develop into a player. DeQuell Jackson was a tackle machine. TJ Ward on the right side of 25 might be able to develop him up. You have Eagles legend Sheldon Brown on the outside. Buster Screen had a nice career. But the face of the defense is very much Joe Hayden, 86 superstar, dev trait, 22 years old, second year out of Florida, 86 man-to-man. One of the most underrated corners of the league in this time. It was just kind of like anybody on the Browns that was good. It's just he didn't really get talked about a lot. But I have very high expectations for Joe Hayden and what he's going to have to do to the secondary. But there's a lot of things that need to go right. I think we're a ways away from this Browns team getting good. But that's why, every Browns rebuild is fun, because they always suck. And then, you got to have to find a way to win. So here's our draft class that we were starting with. Here's the actual Browns draft class. Based on the old rules for our 20 rebuilds, we would have to draft every single player that the Browns actually drafted every year. And then we threw in a little bit of pink slips, where if we hit a goal that we would just kind of come up with, we would then be able to steal a pick, a best pick available from one of the teams that we beat that year. So it kind of freshened things up. So when you look at this draft class, Trent Richardson, Brandon Weed in the first round, you probably would keep Trent Richardson, see if you can maybe have that pan out. And then you would absolutely, pivot from Brandon Weeden and get someone else. However, there was enough people that suggested that it would be funner if I just went BPA, like we did with some of our old retro rebuild content in years past, where I would just straight up, the best player I am taking, screw taking the actual picks that happen. And I get that, and I want to offer something to those people. But I also think for me, just like the lack of, you have to show self-restraint, not to just completely cheese a draft class. And I do think there's an inherent challenge in going through some bad draft classes, as we saw with our Colts 20 rebuild, where they had 15 fucking years of dog shit draft classes. It made the rebuild more challenging for me versus if I was able to kind of cherry pick the good picks throughout that. So, here is what we are going to do. As it stands, we are locking in. We have to draft the exact draft that we have. But we are going to throw a little spin the wheel element. Who doesn't love spin the wheel? So this series is supposed to be fun. It inherently, because the baseline is we have to run it back with the actual draft class, the draft class process will always be challenging. So I want to make the fun little wheel spin here to be rewarding and just to kind of open things up a little bit. So our goal, I think the biggest issue from the first kind of run through of our 20 rebuilds was every single year I set a challenge goal for us to achieve. And after like 10 years, it just became kind of super repetitive. Like, win the Super Bowl. And like, I think for me, what we're going to do, because this needs to be a reward, because there is inherently already baseline a lot of challenge because we have to go through for the Browns here, terrible draft picks for 95% of our picks. Our challenge every year for this rebuild is to have a better record in our rebuild year than what the Browns actually did in real life. Now, the Browns were terrible, so that should skew more towards winning wheel spins. And if we do hit that, we have 4 options on the wheel. They are weighted. So we have BPA, which if we roll that, we can take at any pick the best player available when it's our pick on the clock. We also have pink slips as an option, where if we roll that, it's going to be pink slips. We can take a pick from a team that we defeated that season and then swap our terrible pick and steal their best pick. And then we're going to have 2 just kind of not really winning wheel rewards. But we have the actual pick, which, you know, it just kind of is what it is, a neutral. Or we have an Al Davis pick, which is going to open things up for us just at some point at one of our picks, if there was like just a crazy athlete. The ultimate, like if I'm picking in Madden type player, we roll that, we're going to have to get like your Dree Archers of the world or something crazy like that. I think that's a fun addition to a winner wheel. In the chance in event that we finish with a worse record in our rebuild year than the Browns actually did in real life, we have to go to the loser wheel. And the loser wheel is pretty much just kind of the inverse of what we have. Instead of getting BPA, we would have to select the biggest bust available in the first round at our first round pick, which probably a lot of times would actually be the same as our actual pick option there on the wheel because the Browns are terrible. But that certainly opens things up. We also have pink slip, the losing version, where we'd have to take a team that defeated us in the regular season and swap picks, take their worst pick, give them our best pick. We're going to leave at 10%, keeping our actual selection, and then a 10% in anti-Al Davis pick, which means we have to draft the least athletic player, the slowest 40-yard dash. I'll look at like combine history for that given draft class, and we'll get just the biggest, most unathletic piece of crap on our roster. So I think that's just a kind of a fun way. I think ultimately it should be easier to achieve our goal and get the wheel spin, which is what I want. But then in the event that we just have a terrible, terrible season, it's going to open things up for just a little bit chaos. But ultimately, the series is and will always come down to, I think, having to inherit the draft class that was. Because for a team like the Cleveland Browns, that is just going to make this such a hard rebuild. It's not like we're taking over a team that's had ridiculous draft classes throughout the last 20 years and we're going to rebuild an absolute super team. This way here, we're kind of forced. Even if we win, we're probably going to have to end up with some form of like a Trent Richardson or a Brandon Whedon on any given year for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, outside of that, though, there was some nice picks. Mitchell Schwartz was a solid draft pick. Travis Benjamin was, you know, kind of a guy for a little minute there. You have Acho, fucking ESPN kind of loose. You got the great Brad Smelly. You know, there were some studs in this class. But without further ado, let's get into the 2011 season. Now, very quick snapshot. The Cleveland Browns this year went 4-12. So that is going to have to be what we finish better than. And I think if we could run the football with Peyton Hillis, we certainly could get 5 wins and get the positive wheel spin. We get win 1 of we need 5. Week 2 here against the Colts. Not a pretty win. Colt McCoy throws 2 picks. But luckily enough, Peyton Hillis was able to kind of crush it defensively. I'm not going to lie. This is, we just got to find ways to win ugly. Shout out Sheldon Brown with the pick. We got to get 4 more. Come on, boys. And going into our bye, we get our second win. The ratings are terrible. This is going to be absolutely like, you know, when we do win, it's going to be winning ugly. But there we go. Colt McCoy didn't turn the football over. Peyton Hillis, 83 yards and a touchdown. Ben Watson finding the end zone defensively. D'Qwell Jackson with a bunch of tackles. And we get 2 picks by our 2... I don't know if I want to, you know, throw TJ Ward into the cornerstone conversation, but our 2 highest ceiling players on the defense as it stands. So looking at our contracts right now, DeQuell Jackson, I mean, we don't have a whole lot of talent, so it's going to be very difficult for me not to just try to keep everybody that's, 20, I'd say 28 and under. So I'd like to keep DeQuell Jackson. I don't think we're too far ahead. Obviously, Peyton Hillis is going to be one of the faces of this rebuild. We'll get him on a 5-year. Okay, I guess all these guys are really pissed off. Evan Moore, is that the dude that's on the podcast with Nick Foles? Nick Foles has a podcast. I think that's the Evan Moore of... That's the Evan Moore. Got some veterans. I mean, I think we probably... I mean, you gotta have the GOAT here. Phil Dawson. Didn't he used to have like the weird one bar? Like a weird... We'll keep him for sure. And I don't think we're too far away. We'll definitely bring back DeQuell Jackson and Peyton Hillis. Make that 3 wins, 2 away off the bye. And it's a Colt McCoy 4-touchdown offensive player of the week. And we get another one. We have equaled the wins for the Browns. It's getting close, for how many wins that we have had. It is a Peyton Hillis hat trick, 2 rushing touchdown, 1 receiving touchdown. I mean, that's pretty potent from the offense, all things considered. 3 touchdowns for Colt McCoy. Peyton Hillis obviously getting the game ball. Josh Cribbs giving us a little bit as receiver. Jordan Cameron, the rookie tight end, stepping up when we need him to. Defensively, huge game from TJ Ward. We get the 2 picks. Brown and Mike Adams, 2 veterans back there. 1 more win, boys, and we get to not get Brandon Weeden. We got it. Jack Marcash in a divisional victory. 35-20. TJ Ward gets a defensive player of the week performance. 11 tackles, a sack, and a pick. But the Browns have officially, in our rebuild, done better than they actually did in 2011. Let me Colt McCoy. Clearly Colt McCoy's probably not going to be our guy. Shout out Josh Cribbs going over 100 yards. But Colt McCoy can be serviceable until we can get that quarterback. Look at the picks. I'm all right with it. I can live with that. Let's go. We get a winning wheel spin. Well, thank God we got those wins. We did not win after that moment. It did stink that 4 games of the remaining were 2 against Baltimore, 2 against Pittsburgh, who are 2 of the highest rated teams. They didn't smash us, but I wasn't expecting to win any of those ones. But we needed 5 wins. We got 5 wins. I'm kind of scared to look at our stats. We didn't really put up big time numbers. Colt McCoy, 300 yards, 24 touchdowns, 9 picks. I mean, that's not brutal. He's an accurate quarterback, just doesn't have a cannon of an arm. He got 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns for Peyton Hillis. Josh Cribbs got 1,000. Finding a way to get him involved in the offense. Maybe that's like one of the big disservices of the Browns is that he's been such a dynamic return man, struggled to getting the football in his hands as an actual receiver. Benjamin Watson was solid. Greg Little, the rookie to North Carolina, he was always a fun player. He was always one of those players back in the day, because he always rebuilt the Browns, that you'd move him to from wide receiver to running back. And he was one of those guys that go from like a 75 to like an 85. But we'll keep him here. Jordan Cameron, not a brutal year. Maybe we'd like to see a little more Peyton Hillis as a receiver. But 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns for Peyton Hillis is solid enough. Defensively, TJ Ward and DeQuell Jackson both had big-time tackle seasons. Didn't get much going from the pass rush. Was kind of looking at Jabal Sheard to be that guy. 8 TFLs, 3.5 sacks is a little on the rough side. INTs aren't too bad. Did not have a single award winner, but I'm fine with it. We hit our goal. We get to help out our draft process here a little bit. No more Brandon Weeden. We will spin the wheel come to draft time and figure out. Hopefully, we need BPA. BPA would be pretty awesome. All right, actually, we're going to spin the wheel now because I need, if we roll pink slips, to see who we actually defeated in the regular season. Let's just hope it's one of the 2 actual wins and not we roll actual pick or something lame like that, because we know the class that we have. I'm fine if we have to get like a Trent Richardson. There's a cool career redemption. Maybe we could just go all rushing attack while Colt McCoy's our quarterback with him and Peyton Hillis. It works out. And we have some good picks. Fine with Mitchell Schwartz selection. I'd be fine with Travis Benjamin. Oh boy, let's go. First wheel spin. Come on, BPA. Are you fucking kidding me? All right, awesome. Love it. So happy that we, tried to fresh things up. We get the exact same roll. And this is going to be our class. Can't wait to just not enjoy having Brandon Weeden on our team. Unbelievable. So with our pick, I can't believe it, dude. What a wet fart. Hey, we get our goal. We're feeling pretty good for once as the Browns. And it's like, oh, you actually have to go get the same goddamn terrible class. Trent Richardson, our first pick. 161 in true value at pick 5. No dev trait. Yeah. Tell you what, do you think it gets any better? We got to follow up with Brandon Weeden. 118 in true value. And he's 28 as a rookie. So, yep. At least there are a couple good players. Headlined by Mitchell Schwartz, who should be able to come in, plug and play as a long-term starter. Us, a legit first-round caliber player. 31 in true value at 69. And he comes with a dev trait. So here's a look at our draft recap. And we sure got a lot of depth across the board here. Ocho, 63. Travis Benjamin, a 68 normal. Mitchell Schwartz ends up being far and away our best player, 72 with the dev trait. Brandon Weeden as a 28-year-old rookie, 66 overall. Not even going to provide an upgrade over Colt McCoy. And Trent Richardson, I mean, he was hyped. So, you know, he did still pull in a pretty solid 73 rating, but only a normal dev really kind of like is the, you know, yeah, I mean, because that's the toughest thing when you're doing these draft classes. Like, should you rate these players as they were coming out of college? Because coming to college, Trent Richardson was awesome. So, like, I feel like the middle ground between that is, like, maybe give them an appropriate-ish rating, but knowing that they actually sucked in real life, maybe just you nerf their dev trait a little bit, start them at a normal dev trait. And, well, you know, he's going to go firmly behind Peyton Hillis for the time being, but still enough skill there for a really nice RB2 complementary option, especially if we go run heavy. So as we begin the 2012 season, team with the draft that we just have doesn't look a lot better. Hey, at least we got a shiny new right tackle that we should be able to, you know, grow and develop around and kind of consider a cornerstone, right? Gives us 3 very valuable linemen going forward. We did lose the superstar dev on Josh Cribbs, which is actually kind of weird because he did hit 1,000 yards last year. But, yeah, I mean, with how things are kind of lining up here, I don't know what Travis Benjamin's going to really add to the wide receiver. We might have to just fully commit to being a very aggressive rushing team, because our ceiling is kind of limited with Colt McCoy at quarterback. The defense, again, pretty much running it back with the exact same guys. So, best of luck to you out there. Looking at the upcoming draft class, we definitely want to hit our goal. Was not a stellar class for the Browns, which is something we're probably going to say for a lot of these classes. They went Barkevious Mingo in the first round. He ended up being like a serviceable NFL player, had a decent career, bounced around from teams, kind of became a journeyman. But, I mean, in the picture of Browns misses, there's worse than Mingo. They got Leon McFadden, Jamorius Slaughter, Armonte Bryant, and a lineman, something known as a Garrett Gilkey from Shedeur State. So we are going to certainly want to hit our goal and have a chance at the winner wheel. So the Browns this year in 2012 went 5-11. So that is going to be our target there. Let's get 6 wins and spin the wheel. And I guess, to be clear, if we equal the record, I feel like the most fair thing. If we get 5 wins on the dot, we just go with the actual draft class as it was. We don't get an opportunity at the winner wheel. We don't get punished. We just go with the draft that is. I want to talk about contracts right now. We're on a 2-game win streak, almost halfway to our win goal. Feeling pretty decent. Plus, that Steelers, that's quality win. Pittsburgh is one of the highest rated teams. So a very impressive win early in the year. Looking at our contracts here, we have Josh Cribbs, who I think it just makes the most sense for him to retire, a Cleveland Brown. But man, oh man, it'd be real nice to have any of our players want to stay here. It's been 2 years of every free agent. We are going to have to significantly overpay. I'll find a way to get Cribbs on a 2-year extension. Ooh, week 4, we got Colt McCoy finally as a 70 rated. Just can't buy a throw power upgrade. It's coming up our week. We're halfway to our win total, 3-5. And, I mean, the teams that we have beat are impressive. Pittsburgh is very difficult. Baltimore, very difficult. Those are the 2 highest rated teams in the division. And we got both those on the road. So I think I'm optimistic that we'll be able to get those 6 wins. Oh my God, dude, we need one more fucking win. No! Week 17 against Jacksonville. Oh my God, we're going to have to go with the same draft. These rules are now stupid after... Look at our ratings. Top 5 offense with Colt McCoy. You need 6. You give me 5. Well, can't wait to get Barkevious Mingo in the building, everybody. Well, on that disappointment, Peyton Hillis was the second leading rusher in the league. Colt McCoy was serviceable, to say the least. Trent Richardson got 9 rushing touchdowns as a rookie. So, there's absolute positives. Just under 1,000 yards for Josh Cribbs again. Jordan Kane was some pretty good production. Greg Little, Ben Watson. Peyton Hillis a little bit more productive as a receiver. Defensively, DeQuell Jackson and TJ Ward, big time tackles. Our sacks are still not in a great spot, especially Jabal Sheard, who actually has a great skill set and upside. He's almost an 80 rated on the right side of 25, and back-to-back years, he's given us a little bit in the TFL department, not so much in the sack department. Shout out Joe Hayden, though, for getting a hat trick of picks. Thought we had a little bit more respect on Trent Richardson in Rookie of the Year voting, but that went to Alshon Jeffrey, who's on the Bengals. We did get our first award winner, though, which is Peyton Hillis, Running Back of the Year. Now, it's not all bad news, as we have Peyton Hillis and Jordan Cameron on the offensive side going up dev traits. Defensively, we have Gokong going from normal up to a star, as well as TJ Ward going from star up to superstar. So really across the board, and Buster Screen's now an 80 rated player. It's not all doom and gloom, but just gotta bite the bullet and get through another terrible draft class. We're gonna make a couple signings here in free agency just because our draft is gonna have us like below positional requirements. So we got Legatron, Paul Kruger, Casey Matthews, Garrett Selleck coming over. Just mostly depth moves. So our first pick, our big pick, is Barkevious Mingo, 147 in true value at... God damn it. Hey, at least he's a hell of an athlete. And, you know, we're probably not going to keep him at will. We're going to maybe move him to Sam, maybe just put him straight up at one of the edge rush spots and just see if he can hit the ground running and develop. All right, so here's a look at our recap. And, wow. I'm gonna lie, I thought our Marty Bryant was like halfway decent. 57 rated seems egregious. Also, I think 66 for Mingo. I mean, we got 72, 73 a year ago with Trent Richardson. I thought Mingo would at least be like a 70 normal. 66, that's kind of sucks, but at least we're working with a hell of an athlete. Ooh, I'll tell you right now, moving Mingo from Will to DN brings us to a 75. We are back in business. Now, 75 might even be too generous of a rating. We don't get the depth trade or anything crazy like that, so it still is a nerfed down version, but ends up being not the worst first round pick. Let's go. Let's give it another go. Year 3, the 2013 season here for the Browns with our draft. We actually turned into an optimistic pick with Barkevious Mingo. Why not? Great athletic profile. Our pass rush has sucked. It can't get any worse. Maybe there is something there. Our goal this year, the Browns actually regressed IRL. They went from 5 wins in 2012 to back down to 4 wins in 2013. So if we hit 5 wins, we get to hit the winner's wheel. And this is one of the most polarizing, iconic, I don't know how you want to break it down, draft classes in Browns history. Justin Gilbert bust. Johnny Manziel bust. You get Joe Batoni, one of the all-time greats. Christian Kirksey was a super underrated linebacker. We got Terrence West and Pierre Desir. You know, you'd have to make a tough call. I do think. Obviously, Manziel would be fun to get a career revival out of. I would rather have Manziel be my quarterback than, you know, Colt McCoy going forward. But Tony was an absolute hit. If we mess up and hit the loser wheel, if we lose Joe Batonio, that will absolutely suck. If we hit the winner wheel, the argument would be like, who do you upgrade on? Do you go with Justin Gilbert? And much like a Barkevious Mingo, take a guy that's probably going to have still a dev trade's probably going to be dog shit, but his athletic profile is unreal. Or do we, I mean, let's be honest, we're probably going to try to get Johnny Manziel and make him a thing. So when we can upgrade Gilbert, maybe even get Manziel, you know what would be cool? We roll like a BPA or whatever. Manziel and Mike Evans together. In college, now in the pro. That'd be cool. I don't know if we play the Bucs this year. Let's see. Do we play the Bucs this year? If we get like a pink slips roll? Just out of curiosity, I swear to God, if we do play them, I'm not going to like, no, we don't even play them. So we'd have to roll like a BPA or something. But like, who are we kidding? If we do win, we're probably going to roll, keep your own goddamn picks, and keep all our busts again. But here we go. 2013, if we get 5 wins, we get to roll the wheel. Love that perfect start. 1-0 against the Raiders. Suck it. They still suck. They suck worse than we suck. We are 4-1. We're not like, it's not like, oh my God, Colt McCoy's turning it up. Like we're running the football a lot. We are 1 win away, which we might be able to hit that well before our bye week. Let's keep it here live. Come on. 1 win. Cash this right now. Fuck yeah, suck it, Kansas City. We get to roll the wheel. And Jesus Christ, the Browns might win the Super Bowl this year. And that's not a poop joke. You know, like you're going to take a shit in a toilet and you say you're taking the Browns to the Super Bowl. You know that? You know that meme? Have you heard that meme? We might be able to do it for real. So take a look at it. Quick look at our contracts. We have Mr. Alex Mack. That's pretty much, you know, I'm going to be one of those guys until you retire, until it makes no sense to resign you. We have TJ Ward, recent superstar dev. I think a 4-year deal makes a whole lot of sense here. Keep him locked for the rest of his prime. Luval at right guard. You know, 25, 78, scheme fit. I ain't mad at it. I don't think we're too far away in an extension. Colt McCoy, $82 million. Yeah, fucking right. Pardon my French. And I'm going to assume now that at worst we keep our picks. Joel Bitonio could take over for Steinbeck at left guard. So we will see if we can get closer. Probably $30 million. Gets Lauval re-signed. And, you know, 25-78, already a scheme fit. What's his ceiling? If I get him on a 3-4 year deal, he's going to be into the 80s. That's perfectly fine for us being a starter. I love it. Get the 5 wins and then just remind everyone that we're still the Browns, losing 35-0 to the 49ers. I shit you not, fellas. We literally got our goal, and I don't think we're going to win for the rest of the year. So in this season, we go 7-10, which is progress. It's 2 wins better than what we had a year ago. It is a check mark for hitting our challenge goal of target wins, so we get to go to the wheel and hopefully get a nice upgraded pick. Take a look at our player stats here. Colt McCoy, well, he wanted $80 million, threw for 22 touchdowns, 10 picks. Best of luck to you. Would love to keep him as a backup. Our 1-2 punch, Peyton Hillis gets his 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns for Trent Richardson. Josh Cribbs goes over 1,000 yards. Greg Little was solid. Travis Benjamin was solid. Cameron was decent enough. Defensively, TJ Ward, I've been using him kind of a little bit as that sub linebacker. You know, he's when he was playing, one of the hardest hitting safeties in the league. I think it was the best way to utilize his skill set. Bunch of guys over 100 tackles, which sometimes could be a good role for depth chart. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Buster Screen could maybe get off that normal depth. 10 sacks to ball sheared, 8 from Rubin, 4.5 Phil Taylor, 4.5 on 7 TFLs for the rookie Mingo. INT fronts, yeah, not terrible. I've seen worse. God damn it, man. What timeline is this? Dalton, Tebow, Josh Freeman in the top 5 for MVP. From a dev trait perspective, we have no dev traits up on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, we have Jamal Sheard finally gets a dev trait increase from normal up to a star. Same with Buster Screen, from normal up to a star. TJ Ward goes from superstar up to an X factor. So some wins there, some motion on the defensive side of the ball. Back to the wheel spin. We're looking for BP. Ideally, I will take pink slips, anything but the 2 freaking 10% options. Very nice. We get a BPA, which means I am going to be substituting Justin Gilbert for to be determined. The only really need one position in free agency. I need a free safety. Jordan Poyer, who I'm pretty sure ended up on the Browns at some point. 23-74 with a dev trait. I don't know if his rating's actually going to go up or down or not. But obviously played safety eventually. Shout out Rachel Bush. But eventually moves away to safety, so that's my logic. And there he goes from 74 up to a 75. Let's go. Just because we don't really have a safety in the pipeline for the next couple drafts, I'd rather grab it here. So BPA, what does that really mean? We pick at 8, and the kind of unfortunate thing is throughout this, I think I want to pair Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans. That'd be pretty sick. And Mike Evans has been, you know, available and then not available as we've kind of gone throughout this. If we go off mock draft 5, which is 85% right, he is going to be gone before we pick. We pick at 8. And yes, we are just inherently ignoring Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack exist in this situation. Do we trade up to make something fun happen. I'm not saying that BPA means we trade up for whoever we want, but that's cool. I want some. We've had 2 dog shit rolls for our first 2 drafts. I think we try to make something cool happen. And I'm actually shocked it only cost us, our second round pick's a top 10 pick in the second round. That's all it cost us to move up a couple spots in the first. That's actually kind of insane. But I am fine with it. Because with this selection, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to create the elite duo from Texas A&M. Some say Mike Evans, now in hindsight, might have made Johnny Manziel, but I think that's foolish hindsight. I think Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M was a generational player. He literally was like winning the Heisman as a freshman, drunk and high. So we have Mike Evans, now a member of the Cleveland Browns, top 10 player in the class at number 3. And we know what we got to do now. I wish there was a face scan. I don't think there is. That's a pretty rough looking scan. But Johnny Manziel, you are now our QB1. We're able to get one of the most unheralded guards still in the league. He hasn't retired yet, has he? Joel Bitonio, still doing the damn thing. So here's a look at our draft recap. Oh, boy. Well, Desir Terrence West, Christian Kirksey, welcome aboard. Joel Bitonio, 76 with a dev trade. He is going to be a day 1 starter for us at left guard. Johnny Manziel, 68 rated. And we're going to give him a go, man. I mean, skill sets there, 91 speed, 91 acceleration, 90 throw power, 93 agility. You know, probably not 100% in line with like what his actual rookie ratings would be, but for this world, I am fine with this being our starting point. Not a given that he is going to pan out and we're going to be able to have this great big career revival. But when you try to replay the career of Johnny Manziel, obviously we do not have to deal with the off-the-field stuff, and when we get to recreate history, he never had a player like this at any point during his time at the Cleveland Browns, right? We're going to get Josh Gordon, I think, in the upcoming. But for right now, Mike Evans, that familiarity, I'm already going to put the C on his chest. Big Mike Evans, one of the, first ballot Hall of Famer. This is going to be sick. This is going to be great. This is going to be sick. All right, so if Johnny Manziel can get gold, we will give him jersey number 2. Oh, and he gets it with the last throw. All right, we'll put him in the right threads. He earned his new number, or his old number. You know what else we need to do? Because it's not within the rules of this rebuild. Josh Gordon was not a draft pick for us to get Josh Gordon. But like now that we have a quarterback we feel excited about, I guarantee the people will be like, if I went this whole rebuild without getting Josh Gordon. He's 23, he's been in the league for a year. He ended up on the Falcons. I'm going to send them Greg Little, who's also on a rookie contract, 77. Normal dev to Josh Gordon, star dev, so I will overpay. I'll throw in a second-round pick. Josh Gordon, Mike Evans on the Browns. Been the wide receiver 3 in Atlanta for 2 seasons. 500 yards, 2 touchdowns. 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. See if we can improve that. For the point of showing how the mod does have his face scan, that looks right. It'd be weird to do this whole rebuild without having Josh Gordon be here. Right now, man, our roster's kind of the greatest hits of like fun players, meme players, everything in between. We have Manziel and Brandon Whedon, Peyton, Hillis, Trent Richardson, Josh Cribbs, Mike Evans, Josh Gordon. We have the lineman of all time in Joe Thomas. We have Joel Bitonio. We have Alex Mack. Defensively, this is probably where the teams like, DeQuell Jackson had a couple big seasons there. Joe Hayden was great. But we need to, hold on. Offense is down a spot. Let's just wait a couple years. Eventually, we'll get the Myles Garretts and those guys in the building, hopefully, and put this team together. Now, feels we got a little bit of excitement around the building right now for the Cleveland Browns. We go into 2014 with a brand new quarterback. It's just odd. I'll just show you the difference. Brand new quarterback, brand new wide receiver 1, brand new wide receiver 2, an all-world guard addition to the offensive line, really giving us a complete offensive line. Jordan Cameron's a superstar dev. A lot of balance in place to navigate having a low-rated rookie starting quarterback. Like, I'm expecting Manziel to probably put up somewhat similar numbers to what we had at a Colt McCoy. But I think I want to be cautiously optimistic that it might be better. There's at least a chance that'll be better. On the defensive side of the ball, most of the players are ascending, so their ratings are only going to continue to get better. And we got Jordan Poyer in free agency starting at that free safety spot, giving us a really good secondary what we really need is someone on this defensive line, someone from this pass rush to come alive. So the goal here, the Browns IRL in 2014 went 7-9. So we're going to need 8 wins to get a spin at the winner's wheel, 7 wins to break even. We bring up breaking even. The draft class, that was for the Browns. They got Danny Shelton, Cam Irving, Nate Orchard, Duke Johnson, Cooper, Campbell, Mayle, Gaines, Telfer, Pullard, Ekpre, Olmu, who's supposed to, remember, he was like a first-round corner, then he hurt himself. I mean, redeeming players from this class. I mean, Danny Shelton has had a decent NFL career, never really lived up to the billing. Duke Johnson, for a minute, was like, hey, you needed a bye-week running back replacement. You could get yourself some Duke Johnson. But this is certainly a draft class from top to bottom. I would love the opportunity to either get a BP8 pick or a pink slip, steal a pick from a team we defeat this year. But we need to go up and get with Manziel, Mike Evans, Josh Gordon. We got to find a way to get 8 wins. I think the only way to kick this off, Johnny Manziel's NFL debut, reimagined at home against the Jets. Well, let's hop in. Now, if there is some weird things that may happen with this mod from here on out for the rest of this video, it is because, and I've shared it before, when there is a Madden update, the mods all break. And of course, halfway through me starting this, there was a Madden update, all the mods broke. I think I literally, like, the equivalent of this shiny, pristine mod is now held together with duct tape. I was able to get everything back in and work to the point where I can play it. That's all I got right now. I can play it. If there's bugs or visual glitches or whatever, it's because it's held together with duct tape so that I can play it. Now we have Johnny Manziel, number 2. Josh Gordon on the outside. Mike Evans in the slot. Josh Cribbs speed on the other side. So we get this. Josh Gordon. Oh, there we go. Opening a drive, score. Johnny Manziel. Josh Gordon. This is a what could have been scenario. Browns with a lead here. Jets are able to go down and respond right away. We are back in the red zone. So let's see if we can. I mean, there's an element to Peyton Hillis' game where he was a do-it-all running back. Like you think, and you see the highlights, a lot of them were him running guys over as like a power back. But like Peyton Hillis could catch. Look at that. A weapon in the pass game. Who wants to get in front of a 240-pound machine who gets momentum like that? And he's built like a UFC fighter from 2001. You know, that's a guy that would take on Chuck Liddell if he had to. So we're carrying on at the moment to see if our defense can offer us. I mean, look at this. Even with me, without me. This team right now with Johnny Manziel under center, they are scoring points. 3 out of our 4 drives in the first half go for touchdowns. Now we're on a 3rd and 2. Usually I don't love running it because more often than not, like the focal point, the exciting players are not the running backs. But when you have Peyton Hillis in the backfield, you want to at least just come in and get a nice 2-yard gain for some camera time. Now we have an interesting backfield. I've been playing primarily my Yetis franchise. Shout out the Utah Yetis. And we've had a 2 running back room rotation, however you want to kind of break that down. Oh, come on, Josh Gordon. You got to catch that. I think there's room for that to be how this Browns team reinvents itself with Trent Richardson and Peyton Hillis in the same backfield. You know, there's a way, I know, in this Madden game that 2 running backs like that can potentially coexist. But with the influx of wide receiving talent that we have, Josh Gordon now on the team and Mike Evans, well, we'll go short here to Mr. Jordan Cameron. Maybe that time has passed for this Browns team to be, you know, even think of recent memory of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, where it's like that is such a lethal 1-2 punch at running back. Maybe that time's passed. That window is shut because we have so much talent at wide receiver right now. And with Johnny Manziel, let's go pick Mike. Mike Evans wins on the inside. They don't know yet what this rookie is going to be able to do. And my plan is that by year 20 of this video, we have both Mike Evans, much like he is in real life, in Hall of Fame. You know, maybe there's some people that don't have him as a first round, like a legit unanimous first rounder because he's never been the best wide receiver in the league. He's maybe never even been a top 5 wide receiver in the league. But let's be honest, I think a decade of being a top 10 receiver in the league, even if you are rated between 6 and 10, he's first ballot for me. Oh my God, dude, come on. We almost lost that. The defense bails us out. Very nice. 31-25, Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans win in their NFL debut. 3 touchdowns, 200 yards for Johnny Manziel, no turnovers. Peyton Hillis, 96 yards. Manziel had a rushing touchdown. That'll be interesting to see. I don't really know a whole lot about this playbook in terms of scrambling numbers. I'm going to assume it's not going to be crazy because we would have seen something with Colt McCoy as our quarterback. Mike Evans, 84 yards and a touchdown in his debut. Josh Gordon, 51 yards and a touchdown in his Browns debut in this world. We got some pressure out the quarterback. 2 sacks, Mingo, Phil Taylor, Ruben getting after it, and Marcus Cooper with a pick. Hell yeah, boys. What a way to start the year. Going into our bye week, we are 3-2 on pace. We want 8 wins on the year. At worst, get 7 so that we don't have to get the punishment wheel. So we're on track at 3-2. Our offense is top 10. Let's see maybe our passing yards be a little bit better. And here's not to say that we don't look at potentially reinventing our coaching staff. Browns have had some good coaching staff. Guys come through the pipelines. Like Mike McDonald was there. We could explore something like that. If the numbers in evolution of this offense doesn't really fit how we want it to go with Johnny Manziel, Mike Evans, etc. Looking at our contracts to over $200 million salary cap. Joe Hayden, this is a lifer. I don't think we're going to be too far ahead. Wish he would have accepted that amount of money. Jordan Cameron, I think another guy that I would like to keep for the time being. We are now operating on, it's maybe naive right now to assume that Johnny Manziel is going to, for sure pan out. But I want to try to operate on the fact like we have our quarterback on a rookie deal in Manziel. So let's spend a little bit. Jabal Sheard, of course, he just goes up depth chart. I think I got to wait and see. I'm not, with how long this rebuild is, a 20-year rebuild, I don't really care about rating dev trade if you're not performing. And Sheard has definitely not done that. I'd be more inclined, honestly, to bring back Ruben. He's been our best pass rusher. Let's see if we can get him on a 2-year deal, lock him up for the rest of his prime. D'Qwell Jackson, still a solid veteran. He's only for a 1-year deal. We don't have crazy depth at linebacker. We did just bring in Kirksey. Well, I think at some point should hopefully develop into a legitimate starter for us. But for right now, damn, man, Cribbs might be the one guy that's just doesn't make much sense to keep him around. Like, how much do you want to pay for a return man? But just feels right for him to retire as a Cleveland Brown. All right, so looking at the outlook of our schedule here, we just got another one off the bye week. Falcons, Dolphins, Giants, those need to be for sure wins. We have tough games. Every game in our division is kind of a pain in the ass. Right? Bengals, Ravens, Steelers are one of the highest rated teams. We've had luck with them in the past, but if they actually start playing to the ratings, we have, it could be pretty tough for us to get that 8 wins. Yep, we're blowing it. Lost 4 in a row. Well, the good news is Kirksey got 5 skill points for getting 75 tackles, so that's going to be huge for his development. We got Mike Evans as well with a very nice +3. All right, we got 2 games left. We need to win both games to upgrade our pick. We need to win 1 game. Let's upgrade our players here to give us our best chance. Win 1 game to at least break even and have to run it back with the actual class. So we have some nice upgrades. There we go. Jordan Poyer. Trying to work him into a scheme fit. And I kind of think with this series, I am going to apply what we use in our realistic rebuild, just in case people ever disagree with maybe the ratings, the rookie ratings. Like Mike Evans was a 79 as a rookie, which is a little on the high end. And the way to kind of combat high ratings, in the case of Mike Evans as well, is I am upgrading scheme fit only. So yes, your overall will jump up, but I'm not chasing the highest overall until you are a perfect scheme fit for a team. Mike Evans obviously there with a superstar that we're doing with Batonia, making him an agile scheme fit, etc., etc. So that way there, it will curve the ratings just a little bit. And I feel like it is probably the best way going for it. But look at Kirksey, man. Even with the boost up to an 80, we have our D'Qwell Jackson successor right in-house there. Alrighty, 1 win is fine. 2 wins is what we're looking for. We got there we go. Put up 41 on the Buffalo Bills, 7-9. So we have now actually equaled the exact record because obviously there wasn't 17 games back then. So we get the no punishment. We're good. We get to at least go get the very exciting Danny Shelton first-round pick. I can't wait. But if we could go against Pittsburgh, who are 11-5, first place in the division. We have a questionable player. We're going to make sure that our team is as good as it possibly can be. We get this win. Oh, just 1 sec. Same with Manziel, though. For the scheme fit, I have to put all my points in the field. I'm not just cheesing it with Scrambler, but there's logic to this because you got to refine his game. You want him to catch on in the NFL. You can't just repeat and let him do and get away with what he's good at. Let's make him an NFL quarterback. So we're going to invest all 7 of these points. As you see right there, his rating doesn't even change into field general. All right, 1 game. Come on. Win this. Oh, please. Plus it's Pittsburgh. There's added value. Come on. Well, Danny Shelton's not that bad, and we traded for Josh Gordon to start this season, so we did add an exciting player at least. But fuck, man, it's a grind. It's an old grind here. Statistically speaking, this year, Johnny Manziel, I mean, pretty good. 3,900 yards, 28 touchdowns, 13 picks. So he's been a lower rated than what we've had Colt McCoy, and he's already put up as good of a year as Colt McCoy has. I'm optimistic, cautiously optimistic. 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns for Peyton Hillis. Obviously, with our scheme, Johnny Manziel's not going to scramble as much as he did in real life. And let's just take a realistic approach of being, run when you need to. Let's develop you as a pocket passer. Maybe that will help give him a better swing of this in career. But if not, I mean, we absolutely could look at different playbooks if it continues. We hit our ceiling here to get 2,000-yard receivers. Really, really like seeing that. Both Josh Gordon and Mike Evans go over 1,000 yards. Defensively, tackles look fine. Sacks are, 8.5 sacks, 16 TFLs for Barkevious Mingo. Not too bad for a first-round bust. There's a sense of optimism for us just having to accept we have to draft Danny Shelton this year. Barkevious Mingo was a lame, wet fart of a pick, and he's developing a little bit. Everyone's got to Phil Taylor was a first-round bust, and he's at least playing like a solid, serviceable starting lineman. INT numbers, not too bad. Jordan Poyer, 88 tackles, 2 picks in his first year with the Browns. We get Offensive Rookie of the Year, go to Mike Evans, taking Johnny Manziel's time. I think I would have preferred Manziel to get that, given his normal dev trade. And Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Christian Kirksey, who now goes by Chris Kirksey for some reason. That we have broken rookie season records. Johnny Manziel, pass yards, pass touchdowns. Mike Evans, yards, catches, and receptions. So at season's end, we don't get any dev traits offensively for Manziel. Mike Evans was a superstar. Joel Bitonio was a superstar for his base dev trait. Defensively, we have Barkevious Mingo goes from normal up to a star. Buster Scribe with a dev trait there. We get double dev trait on Christian Kirksey. You kidding me? Gets star dev from normal off his production and then gets the superstar for Defensive Rookie of the Year. God damn. Okay. The Browns, how do we only get 7 wins? I shared was solid enough to give a contract extension to, and he said he wants to test free agency. I think I'd really just like him for a 1 year. I'm not going to be spending big in free agency, so I'm perfectly fine just franchise tagging him for 1 more season. Myles Garrett's got to be coming up, right? Off the top of my brain, I can't. 2017. Yeah, we're getting close. He's coming. Hashtag. Wasn't going to be big spenders anyway. Help that the free agent class is terrible this year. It's mostly kickers and punters. So I was able to get every player bar 1. Which, given these guys are in the 50s, probably not missing much. We got Gaines has a 66 rated. Vince Mail, 66. Ibrahim Campbell, 67. 65 on Cooper. 68 on Duke Johnson. All normal dev traits. Cam Irving, a 68. You can play guard. You can play a little bit of center. I believe he was drafted as a center floor saver. I think he played everywhere on the offensive line there. And then Danny Shelton in the first round. It could have been worse. 71 rated. He's a scheme fit. I think there's a chance that, very much like Barkevious Mingo, might be able to make the most of this selection. All right, fellas, we got an easy one this year. 2015 season now for the Cleveland Browns. We end last year, disappointed that we did not finish better than 7 wins, but equaling 7 wins. Our team's only got better. We're only going to ascend throughout this regular season. I'm bullish. With both offense and defense, we're going to play at a high enough level. I think we should be flirting with the playoffs, to be honest with you, but to beat the target of 3 wins. The 2015 Browns went 3-13. Surely we are going to hit that goal and be able to upgrade one of our picks, because that draft class also was a very Cleveland Browns draft class. Corey Coleman, fun Madden player. Certainly would be a guy worst case. I think we could have, every player that's been a bust has an element of, can I career revive? Can we give them a different direction? Corey Coleman, elite athletic profile coming out of Baylor, outstanding deep threat. Could be pretty fun, but we don't really need wide receiver right now. I suppose in terms of his athleticism, like Josh Cribb's successor, if you will. You got Emmanuel Ogbah, who's obviously had a pretty decent career. Carl Nassib's been around for a while. Joe Schobert, he was a guy. Did he make the Pro Bowl eventually? He'd be actually a really good guy to add to the room. I feel like Kindred was with the Browns for a minute. You got Hollywood Higgins at wide receiver. Another what if. Scooby Wright was literally one of the most productive college linebackers I've ever seen in my life. Just one of those classic guys that could never make it in the NFL. I might be able to give him a shot. That'd be pretty cool to make, if you're in the weeds at this point in time in college football, you absolutely know the legend that is Scooby Wright. So we have a lot of things up for grabs here, but if we can get 4 wins, we get to go to the winner's wheel, and I'm excited for that. Now we start on the right foot. Win week 1 over the Baltimore Ravens with a Johnny Manziel Offensive Player of the Week performance. Let's go. That's why I'm going to be so hard-pressed, man, to change this scheme up. Sure, we might be able to find one that utilizes his scrambling a little bit more, but the offensive output so far, 2,000-yard receivers, the run game's been good. I don't really want to rush to do that. That'd be kind of more of a, we need to start winning, we're not winning, and we got to pivot potentially. But as it stands right now, man, I think Manziel's operating this offense very well, and the lack of wear and tear from him not scrambling the football 12 times a game, maybe that's going to help his career longevity. Well, with 4 goals being our target, going 4-0 to start the season there. All right, let's go. Successful season already in the books. Now, let's go recreate history here and make the playoffs. Actually, we might go undefeated. We just kicked the shit in the shootout over the Steelers, where Mike Evans goes for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Oh, it's as good a point. Look at some contract extensions. Josh Gordon, you are going to be a Brown for life. I'll give you 4 ounces of purple dank kush, bumblebee, tuna, sour diesel. Please sign. Why do none of you guys want to stay? Mr. Schwartz, come on. We have a good team. Why is there no green? Jamal Sheard, 2-year deal. Guys, we're undefeated, ladies and gentlemen. For Phil Taylor, I think we can replace him with Danny Shelton for his role in the offense. Obviously, Trent Richardson hasn't really worked out here. We still have Peyton Hillis. Peyton Hillis is get out there and age a little bit, probably at his cap for as good as he's going to get. I just don't think, we had Trent Richardson. That's actually not. Even Trent Richardson sticking his nose up at my offers. This is brutal. The Quell Jackson, the veteran. All right, no one's coming back. Fuck these guys. That's a lie. I'm coming back to the table with my tail between my legs. I called my bluff. Josh Gordon locked in for the next 5 years. So the end of the 2015 season, we hit our goal early. We go 11-6, our first year above 500, and we are well above 500. We are runners-up in the AFC North, so no divisional title, but we have the number 1 scoring offense. Top 5 passing, top 10 rushing. Our defense, it needs a work in progress. Okay, that's clearly the weakness that these teams are going to target. But look at Money Manziel. 4th in yards, 2nd in touchdowns. 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 12 picks. Now, when it comes to the awards cycle, very easy to feed in the narrative that everyone hates Johnny Manziel. They don't like his personality. The reality is 12 interceptions. When we go look at the award winners, 12 picks is just way too much in the eyes of Madden to get award. But we are flirting with a guy that, I wouldn't be shocked if we could cash in an MVP here for Money Manziel. Peyton Hillis, 1,200 yards, 12 touchdowns. We had receiving 1,400 yards, 17 touchdowns from Mike Evans. So that elite duo from college carrying over. Josh Gordon, just under 1,100. We'll round that up. 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. So it's been back-to-back years in this new environment that we're getting 2,000-yard receivers, which is kind of the baseline of a great passing attack, or at least the target that we like to look for in our rebuilds. Josh Gibbs is solid. Jordan Cameron, more than solid. On the defensive side of the ball, Jaquel Jackson led the team in tackles. 7 sacks, Phil Taylor, 6.5 Rubin, 5.5 on 17 TFLs for Mingo. So the sacks aren't great, but you know what? The combination there, we have a pretty good run defense. All things considered, for a defense that was rated pretty much last in everything. So we can, only go up from here. We did not have an award winner. Johnny Manziel, 5th in MVP, was our best shot. And for whatever reason, not for whatever reason, Andy Dalton's pretty much Joe Burrow in this realm. And it's kind of weird to see. You just tell from the top receiver, Alshon Jeffrey is the greatest wide receiver of all time. He's getting this every year. He's going to challenge Jerry Rice. And as an Eagle fan, I love it. There's our first taste of playoff football on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars. 2 franchises that have been down bad. But let's see. The Browns strike first. They strike second. And our terrible ranked defense pitching a shutout so far in the first half. And if you had to pick and choose, especially for how our roster is built, I would rather my offense be way better than my defense, because that means Manziel and Mike Evans and those Peyton Hillis are doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And right now, our defense really just needs to hold on until we can hopefully get Myles Garrett. 28-17, year 1 of Manziel making the playoffs. And you're seeing the most electrifying man from college football do exactly that in the NFL. What a game. The Browns are moving on. We move on to the division round where we get the 13-4 Denver Broncos, who have a lot of green. Good balance. Top 10 offense, top 5 defense, the number 1 rush defense in the league. They got Bobby Wagner, Von Miller, Chris Harris Jr. But look at the team ratings. This Browns team is juiced to the gills and ready to continue with this run. But we're now establishing a standard. We cannot go next year and revert back to the old Browns. We are now a Browns team that is capable of winning playoff games. We are now a Browns team that has a quarterback that is getting top 5 MVP voting. But unfortunately, as we're seeing right here, we are also a Browns team that have a 30-ranked defense. And eventually, unless you're scoring 40 points routinely, that's probably going to come back to bite you in the ass. Making every single game, hey, Johnny Manziel, we need you to score 4 touchdowns a week for us to have any chance. Now, proud of the guys for not just rolling over there. And you may say, based off of our success so far in this rebuild, we are a little bit ahead of schedule for this year to make the playoffs and be within a game of making the championship. But, Manziel versus Tebow in this universe. Tebow gets the dub. We have got to improve our defense. So as we cleared our lockers, we now have Jordan Cameron up to an X Factor, Mike Evans up to an X Factor, and Johnny Manziel finally gets a dev trade increase. And I'd like to think that, relative, this will be his baseline. We should be able to chase a dev trait per year. I'm expecting superstar dev trait next season for Mr. Manziel. Defensively, our dev traits, Jaquel Jackson, better time than now. The veteran makes a jump from star to superstar. We have obviously lost the superstar on Joe Hayden, which kind of stings. But that's just, I'm not going to start another rant about how dev traits for corners shouldn't be tied to INTs, because INTs across the board, from a sim standpoint, are super low, super unpredictable. It shouldn't be the indicator determining whether or not a DB is good or not. But that's, I don't need to fire up that rant here again today. So we're going to let Sheard walk because I'm not paying him $100 million. We're going to pick up the option on Mingo just because I don't think he's going to be a long-term play for us. And the only other starter that we're losing is Phil Taylor. That's going to be Danny Shelton's new starting spot. So that's hitting on our goal. 11 wins when we only needed 4. We get to spin the positive wheel here. I'll take any option. Long it's, we will absolutely take BPA. And unfortunately, that means if you were a Corey Coleman stan, Corey Coleman truther, probably not going to stay with the Corey Coleman selection. So if we're not going to go Corey Coleman, we have to go BPA. Trade up, but I kind of just like taking BPA of who's left on the board there. Looking at our needs, honestly, that wide receiver 3 Corey Coleman, it's not the worst pick. I'm probably not going to go that way, but if I'm looking at the offense, wide receiver 3 long term, we could use with a higher ceiling at right guard, I guess, if we really wanted to. But the offense is good. The defense is what cost us so much. So I would be looking at edge rush for sure on the other side of Mingo. Jackson's kind of like a play. If we can get a younger linebacker, that would make a lot of sense. A corner, high ceiling corner. TJ Ward's getting to that age where he's probably at his ceiling now. I don't think that'd be near the bottom of our list. I think edge rush, corner, off-ball linebacker. Those are going to be our big three. So I'll be honest, I have no idea who BPA is going to be at pick 26, but we are going BPA. Looking at the players that have gone in the area that we would have liked. I mean, Ronnie Stanley at 18 ending up with the Ravens again is a little annoying within the division. But let's free reign here. Literally, it is BPA. There are no rules. So, Zeke, I mean, we're good at running back. I think Derrick Henry and Zeke Elliott, though, being on the board, you got to think long term. Certainly strong candidates, more so in the Derrick Henry side of things. We got Joe Tooney on the offensive line, and we want to just keep the trenches strong. I really think it needs to be defense. Not the greatest role for edge rushers. We have Yannick Ngakoue, Matt Judon, Ogba, who we are going to have to pick anyways. Might actually be one of the best pass rushers that's left. Javon Hargrave, the gravedigger at D-tackle. Leonard Floyd here, more of an edge rusher. Deion Jones has a first-round grade. But, like, we need a pass rush. It just looks like we're not going to get that role, unfortunately. Like, off-ball linebackers, not much. You got Derrick, arrest Derrick Lee. Don't really want that. You go to the secondary. Kendall Fuller's not too bad. Xavier Howard was a ball hawk. But, I mean, this just might be one of those things you want something so bad. Justin Simmons at safety, but, like, our safety room, I feel good about that. That's, like, one of the strengths of the team. I think, honestly, we don't overthink this. When you look at our roster, we love Peyton Hillis. Iconic player, but he's 30. He's 30, and he's regressing. So, if you want to keep that pipeline there, who are we fooling why does BPA exist if not to just draft Derrick Henry here? So that is what we're going to do. Frustratingly, we couldn't get a role on the defensive side of the ball. All top players are gone. Bosa was gone. Jalen Ramsey was gone. So we just keep the run game strong. Derrick Henry is now a Cleveland Brown. I could acquire enough picks to get everybody from this huge Browns class. I got most of them, though. We got Scooby Wright late. Kendrick, Coleman. Kendrick being 57 is kind of ridiculous. Hollywood Higgins comes in, 70 normal. Joe Schobert, 70, and he comes with a dev trait, so that is very awesome. We have Nassib, 67, Ogba, 70, base dev, and the big get here, the big ticket for achieving our season goal. The RB pipeline remains true and strong. Derrick Henry is going to be a lifer. I've been waiting for this season, the 2016 regular season. I did not expect our team would be coming off the kind of year that we just did with the kind of roster that we have, and now the addition of Derrick Henry. Vibes are strong, and the challenge of beating the record of the team that actual season. The Browns went 1-15. We get 2 wins. We, at worst, have to go through and redraft who they drafted. And who did the Browns get this year? Oh, right. The best defensive player of the last 15 years in the league, probably, arguably, in the discussion. You know what I'm saying? If we're counting like peak J.J. Watt, maybe you open things up a little bit. Myles Garrett, great class. This is a fine, like if I had this, we roll, and we don't even get the upgrade of pink slips or BPA. Myles Garrett, Jabril Peppers, David Njoku, Larry Ogunjobi, who's had a nice NFL career. Gonzalez at kickers had a nice career. Perfectly fine if this ends up being our class. But Myles Garrett, as long as we don't go 0-6, 0-17, we will get Myles Garrett. Didn't love starting the year 0-2, but there we go. There's our win against the Chargers. Let's keep it here alive. Let's get our second win. Sim to our second win so that at least we have our upgrade win spiel. But Jesus Christ, we're actually not playing very well. There we go. Going into the bye week, we have our 2 wins. We get to spin the happy time wheel. We actually have a nice player of the week performance here. Joe Hayden with 2 picks. On route to a victory. So, looking at our contracts here. We have, oh no. Oh. Yeah, you know what? This is really kind of one of those years where it's like I don't have to pay a lot of people. And sorry, Josh Cribbs, but if I'm paying someone off of vibes, it is going to be Peyton Hillis for 2 more years. I think we probably maybe bump him down to RB2. And have Derrick Henry. We got to get Derrick Henry. We got to make sure Derrick Henry becomes Derrick Henry. But I kind of want Peyton Hillis on the roster. We have Ruben at D-tackle. We just do not have a good D-tackle coming up in the pipeline. That Ogunjobi could be nice. I don't know if he'll have a dev trade or not. So I think bringing back Ruben for 1 year also makes a lot of sense. Let's go maybe 13 and 12 and a half, somewhere in that range. Let's go. If you want to get an idea why this year, like what kind of year are we having? We lose to the Steelers. We're 6-7, not in a playoff spot, yet we get offensive and defensive player of the week in a loss. It's just one of those fucking don't even try to make sense of it years. We're getting Myles Garrett. So we go 7-10. Very, very disappointing year from where we were a year ago. Johnny Manziel's like half as many touchdowns, it feels like. Peyton Hillis regressed, so it's a good thing we brought in Derrick Henry. But, that is such a drop-off for my rushing game. Josh Gordon went for 1,200 yards. Mike Evans didn't. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that 1,000-yard streak that he had going on with the Bucs. But right there, and 13 touchdowns, far from a bad year. I'm not expecting him to regress or anything like that. Defensively, Kirksey, Joe Schobert, all these guys had really nice tackle numbers. Our sack numbers are up for the first time, and it's the D tackles. 12.5 for Ruben, 10.5. Danny Shelton. Him and Ogba might go from like clear Browns busts to big-time contributors for us. I love seeing that. Joe Hayden with 3 picks. Not bad. You say goodbye to Josh Cribbs, who retires after 12 years. We end the season. This is the lay of the land. We lose the X factor on Jordan Cameron, but that's fine because we have David Njoku coming in at tight end, who I'm optimistic and bullish that he's going to develop into a good player for us. We are getting maybe into like sooner rather than later retirement for Joe Thomas and Alex Mack. Like to get those guys a Super Bowl, not just randomly suck. Thought we were in ascending. We took a step back. Hopefully this is one of those like you take a step back, take a couple steps forward scenario. Linebacking core, we lose the X factor on TJ Ward. So these guys are starting to get a little old. Like to, bounce back next year, get in the playoffs, try to get these guys a ring. So because we did hit our goal, what do we get to roll here? Okay. Now, I'm not going to count that as Myles Garrett, because Myles Garrett would be the Al Davis pick. He was the biggest freak of nature athlete in this class. But let's go take a little look-see. That 2017 draft class, like who had the highest RAS score? Like that we should be able to target at some point. The RAS site's not loading, but this is not a punishing pick because John Ross is there. I think in the element of like an Al Davis pick, John Ross makes a lot of sense. If he falls, there's a chance based off his value, he could be there. This is supposed to be an advantage. The best athlete, the freakiest athlete we can get, that would be an okay. So John Ross is certainly in the discussion. You also have to take a look at Obi Melifonwu, 6'4", 224, ran a 4.4 with a 44-inch vertical, went to the Raiders in the second round. Needs to be one of those two. Got to find a way to get either Melifonwu or John Ross. I think it has to be John Ross. So we're going to start things off in the draft. No free agency. Our salary cap situations get a little dicey. We got to pay Manziel, Mike Evans coming up. But we run it back. Myles Garrett, first pick, first selection. Technically, if we were going just purely off the Al Davis, the biggest freak, biggest athlete. Number 1 in true value in this year's class. Yep. And he actually had those stats. I don't think he might not have had 97, but I think he had 94 strength or something crazy like that as a rookie. And then we'll get the Jabril Peppers selection, which makes a lot of sense for us as a team with, TJ Ward starting to regress, and he's a first-round grade, looking burly. He's looking well-built, well-fed. We'll then get Mr. David Njoku, and where we're going to go different to make up for how we have to add John Ross. Unfortunately, instead of Deshaun Kaiser, we're going to pivot and get the fastest 40-yard dash at the time, the ultimate Al Davis pick at wide receiver. Perfect replacement, too, for Josh Cribbs and what he brought to the offense. So look at our draft recap. Almost every pick outside of Rod Johnson is in the 70s. 72 rated for Zane Gonzalez. Larry Ogunjobi's a 70. John Ross is a 72. Only normal dev, so there's kind of the balancing act between what his rating should be and how high his ceiling should be based off of the career we know he had. David Njoku, a 74 with a dev trait. Pepper, 72 with a dev trait. And then Myles Garrett comes in as an 83 rated. If this isn't the kick in the ass to get this team back and motivated and not to repeat 7-win disappointing year going into 2017, this class needs to be that. Needs to be that missing piece. Needs to be the needle mover. Let's make this team now, from here on out, a perennial playoff contender. Start 2017. This is the period of the rebuild where I very much am appreciative of the challenge goal that we have set. We're just going to beat the IRL record. Now, early in the rebuild, missing it the first couple years, stung a little bit. But the Cleveland Browns in 2017 went 0-16. We get one win. We get to, kind of help out our board, which we need, because it wasn't a terrible class in hindsight. Baker Mayfield, Denzel Ward, Austin Corbett. They got Nick Chubb. A couple other interesting names down there. We just don't need Baker Mayfield. Manziel is our guy at quarterback. We don't even really need Nick Chubb, but that'll keep a nice, a two-headed running back attack. But we need to win this, and then look at flipping Baker Mayfield for like a BPA scenario or stealing away via a pink slips upgrade. We just don't need it. But we definitely need Denzel Ward. Our corner room is lacking right now. At the start of the season, we get 2-1. We already get the cash in the victory. Thank you very much. 2 very nice wins after losing the season opener, but 45 points on the Colts with Jabril Peppers, who we have to play at nickel because our corner room is so bad. Gets 2 picks for a rookie in his 3rd career start. Not too bad. So we're 4-2. Let's get out of the contract extension. It's going to be the most pivotal period so far, as we got some contracts we got to throw out here. Oh my God. This is going to be nuts. Yeah. Got to pay these guys. Oh my God. We're going to have $700 million between Mike Evans and Johnny Manziel. So it's just going to, and we can't even get the other guys, Batonio. We have linebacker depth. So the linebacker, we have, Peppers can take over TJ Ward. We have Jay Watt. Center is somewhat replaced. There is going to be a lot of turnover, but I think we got to try our best here. Manziel, Batonio, and Evans. We got to keep those 3. Manziel's played himself into a franchise tag. Congratulations. So despite the bad and ugly contract negotiations with Johnny Manziel, the team is able to bounce back, get back to where we were 2 years ago, 11-6. The offense, pretty good. The defense, noticeably better with Myles Garrett on the team, but still a far cry from where we need to be, as we still have yet to win a divisional title. Bengals are kind of crushing it, unfortunately. A little of the numbers, Manziel was solid. 4,300 yards, 30 touchdowns, is cutting down on the interceptions and turnovers. Our run game is still, it's in an awkward spot because Peyton is still really good, and you don't want to just banish him away. But Derrick Henry, you got to let the reins go and let him be clear-cut RB1. Did get 2,000-yard receivers, both Mike Evans and Josh Gordon, going over 1,000 yards. John Ross, hell yeah. Real nice for a first-round bust, 800 yards. Is that even better than his career best? From the sack standpoint, though, I do think we're going to have to change up the defensive scheme. I can't cannibalize our players just with these type of numbers and production. So we will be in the market for a new defensive coordinator, because if you could only get 6 sacks for Myles Garrett, that's all I need to see. So with the wildcard round, we go on the road against the Tennessee Titans, the what-if Derrick Henry game. See what we can do here. I'd love to see Johnny Manziel justify. He's looking for $400 million. Well, you better fucking be able to beat Tennessee Titans in the playoffs in the wild card round if you want to get that kind of money. I know you can be good. We know Derrick Henry can get it going. Trust me, we're going to take steps to make sure our defense isn't dog shit. Fucking defense! Nope. Fire this, whoever the fuck this jobber is. That's our DC. Garbage. That looks like a fucking evil bank teller. Get off my team. What are the defensive coordinators that are available? Ooh, that's it's an interesting hire. We have Dan Quinn. That would be what? Eberflus would be like Dallas's, Atlanta. I mean, Flores is the obvious option, but like Minnesota's not a crazy defensive scheme. Give me Atlanta. Let's go Jeff Albrecht. That sucks. You look back, 20-year rebuild, what's one of the things you want to try to do? Get Joe Thomas a Super Bowl. At least we made it so he weren't as terrible as the Browns were during his actual time. So that's at least something. But now we have we're not going to be selecting Baker Mayfield when we go do our little spin here. Maybe left tackle has to be top priority. We do get the wheel spin, though. Let's see what we're going to get. BPA works out for me. We're going to 1 year, $75 million Johnny Manziel. And we can't, like, of course, Christian Kirksey's now next. We don't have money. Our budget's going to be so freaking... No. Like, there's no bargains to be had. None of these guys have any fucking interest in staying anyways, which has been very frustrating. There's no way around that. We're going to decline the option on Danny Shelton. Like, Mac would be nice, but, like, you can't have an expensive center when your budget's going to be crazy. We could probably honestly move Cameron Irving to center, 26, 75 rated. We're going to lose Trent Richardson. It's the end of DeQuell Jackson, who's been here for a minute. A lot of roster turnover, but, the good thing about having fun players and good players is that you should win. And when you're not winning, you have that rough area of like, well, I got to keep these expensive players and hope somehow they turn it around and start winning. It's a great draft to roll, BPA. Just highlighting who is available. DJ Moore and Cortland Sutton are there offensively. When you look at what we need offensively, we need a tackle. So there's Orlando Brown Jr. is on the board. Wyatt Teller on the offensive line, if that's a direction we're going to go. Frank Ragnow at center. We have Brian O'Neill at tackle. Jordan Mailata at tackle. Look at the linebackers that are available. Darius Leonard, Fred Warner, if we want to go there, which our linebacker room's another area that's took a little bit of a hit in terms of free agency. Also just have to give a shout out. Derwin James is a potential option. When you look at the state of our roster, left tackle is a huge need. Right guard is a need, but I think Austin Corbett should be able to be a starter there for us. I don't know if he's going to pull a dev trade or not. And on the defense, Ogba is more than serviceable enough on the other side of Myles Garrett. Danny Shelton, Ogunjobi at D tackle. We have guys in place. The linebacker room, Scooby Wright, Joe Schobert. If we have to run with that, we could. But again, Fred Warner's available. You could also do something creative where you have Peppers, and then maybe you have Derwin James be like the sub linebacker, and he takes over one of those roles. Corner room, we're gonna get Denzel Ward, so that's fine in that regard. We're gonna add another DB because both of our starters are 29. But in the area of going BPA, I think we got to go like Brian O'Neill or something. It's not the sexiest pick, but it's what you got to make. He's going to be our new left tackle. Well, here's a way to start the 2018 season. You don't know what player this just was. I wasn't even recording. Didn't even have the lights on. I was like, I'm just going to do some training camp and then, go crack an energy drink and get started on today's progress of this 20-year rebuild. Got an X Factor upgrade in at training camp. It's Myles Garrett. We got it with Myles Garrett. Deserved, should probably have the X Factor to begin with. But now he has rightfully got himself his superstar X Factor. I suppose now we can give him the respect of getting his actual jersey number right. Alrighty, so as we go into the 2018 season, this is a look at our offense. The big issue for us right now is Johnny Manziel's playing on a franchise tag, so that contract's up in limbo. Our roster reflects that. We don't have Alex Mack at center anymore. We have Cam Irving. Joe Thomas retired. We're going to throw Brian O'Neill up there. He was a 77. We got 2 points of upgrade during training camp, so 79 dev trades. Hell of a succession plan to kind of keep the offensive line playing up. Austin Corbett, the rookie's got to start at right guard. I think it's probably best getting Njoku now as the starter. Just a lot higher upside than Cameron, who's just been regressing nonstop the last 2 seasons. We're going to put Peyton Hillis back to his original NFL position of fullback. I think he's going to give us some good value there because it's now or never, man. We got to get Derrick Henry on the field and let him try to be King Henry. Mike Evans, Johnny Manziel, Josh Gordon doing the damn thing. Feeling good about that. Defensively, we got Nick Chubb too. That's another big reason why I think that can be our RB tandem going forward with Hillis still hopefully getting involved as a fullback. Defensively, kind of the good, the bad, the ugly. We don't have a complete defense, and a big part of that is we have to have $500 million to pay our quarterback. So we need guys to step up. Schobert, Scooby Wright, Ogba, one of them would be cool if they pop off. Myles Garrett needs to play like Myles Garrett. I'm hoping the new defensive scheme can kind of unlock that. Peppers and Poyer at safety, I'm happy with that. Hayden, Buster Skrine in the nickel. Denzel Ward, that's a huge get for us. He was 81 rated as a rookie, now 83 after a very good training camp. So, I mean, you know, the talent that we have coming in, be it Denzel Ward, be it Nick Chubb, Austin Corbett, Brian O'Neill, very good. Could not have a better draft class with the context of our roster from a salary cap standpoint. Those are going to be cheap, affordable rookies for the foreseeable future, but looking like we got to win a Super Bowl. When is it time? Is it going to be this year? Our roster is far from as complete as it probably needs to be unless we get some guys that just pop off this year. So we will see. The goal, the Browns in real life in 2018 went 7-8-1. Had a tie. So we need 7 wins to equal the draft class that they actually had. 8 wins will get us an upgrade potentially. This is a draft class. They got Greedy Williams, Taki Redwine, Mac Wilson, Seibert, Forbes, and Lewis. Like, honestly, Mac Wilson is probably the best of the bunch. He's had a nice late career resurgence as a starter for the Arizona Cardinals. But for the most part, that is not a very good class. Not the type of class we need. So let's go get 8 wins. We had 11 wins last year. I think it's totally doable. Well, if the argument is, do we feel comfortable paying Johnny Manziel, whatever we're going to try to have to hammer for a contract extension, he kicked off the first game of the season divisional battle against the Bengals and said, here you go. How about that? How about 5 touchdowns? F you, pay me. This is the earliest spot we can get a contract negotiations. Let's take a look-see. Manziel, I think the numbers got down a little bit, which certainly helps. Let's knock this up to 35 and like 32 starting offer. 5-year, $335 million. 35, maybe 340. So well, the moving Peyton Hillis to fullback certainly has made it a lot easier to retain his services long term. He's going to retire a Brown. All right, let's try 340. No, you won't find a better team. All right, we're able to get Jordan Poyer back on a 3-year deal, locking him up for the best of his prime. But I'll fucking franchise tag this guy again if he doesn't take these offers. Oh my God. All right, so he declined 345. I think we go up to like 350. This is, all right, fuck going up $5 million. I'm going to go with my max number right now. I think 360 is the highest. And then it's just like, fuck you, I'll franchise tag it. There's no way his franchise tags will be higher than like a $70 million cap hit. And then maybe his price will come down. So, congratulations. We're Kirk Cousining him. Back-to-back franchise tags. Well, because we're going to franchise tagging, we need a lot of money, upfront money for the next season. So that means Buster Skrine, who's been very serviceable, there's just no way we can afford to pay him $20 million next year. This Campbell guy, Jordan Cameron, and Njoku's going to take over there. Danny Shelton's a tough one. Our D-Docker room is incredibly light. But is Danny Shelton, who hasn't, you know, what did he do? I feel like he actually had a pretty decent season last year, right? He's playing well, dude. Like, we might have to pay Danny Shelton. I'm going to be honest. I don't love that price point, but he wants to be here, and it feels nice to have somebody that wants to be here. So week 10, we have now at least equaled the record we need to beat for 2018. We got our 7 wins, so we're locked in right now to getting Greedy Williams and Mac Wilson. 1 more win. See if we can get it right here against Baltimore. 8 wins will allow us to upgrade those picks, which would be huge. We get it against Baltimore. I mean, make no doubts about it, man. Our offense with Mike Evans and Johnny Manziel is very, very, very good. And then we made the change defensively, and while the yards aren't the best, in terms of points allowed, we are almost top 10. So bringing in Jeff Ulbrich as our new defensive coordinator seems to be yielding some pretty good results very quickly. So we end up the season with a 14-3 record. It gives us our first 1 seed, but more importantly, our first divisional title of the video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Year 8. Took us 8 seasons to finally win an AFC North. It makes me appreciative of where we're at. Look at the offense, defense. We made the right call with what we did defensively. Johnny Manziel was solid this year. Just under 4,000 yards, 33 touchdowns. He's cut down on the INTs. So we're in a really good spot there. Derrick Henry was solid. 7 vultures. Peyton Hillis, probably good enough to get him in the Pro Bowl. Love seeing that. Mike Evans and Josh Borden go over 1,000 yards. 15 touchdowns for Big Mike. Njoku was solid as well. 684 yards and 9 touchdowns. Defensively, bunch of tackles, which you feel good about. Look at the pass rush. 16 sacks on 17 TFLs in year 2 for Myles Garrett. So we wanted to go find a defense coordinator that would maximize this guy's talent specifically in the day and night for what we had. And then Ogba had a hell of a year. I think that's kind of how we're probably going to have to go with this team from a roster building standpoint. Myles Garrett's going to get the mega extension, so you just need to find cheap, affordable co-play with them. And I think Ogba can do that. 8.5 sacks on 15 TFLs for Danny Shelton. Happy that we gave him a contract extension. Ogunjobi with 6.5 sacks on 7 TFLs. Ain't too bad. Scooby Wright was productive. Joe Schobert was productive. Sucks at Skrine. We can't afford to pay him. Had his most productive year in terms of INTs, but is what it is. Can't keep everybody. What is this timeline? MVP Tim Tebow, huh? I'll be damned. Pat Sherber gets Coach of the Year. We got ourselves some award winners. Oscar Corbett, the rookie, wins Lineman of the Year. I'm not going to complain one bit. We get Myles Garrett getting Defensive Lineman of the Year, and Buster Skrine gets DB of the Year as a set to be free agent. Our playoff journey starts at home in the divisional round against the 11-6 New York Jets, who have an outstanding defense, better rated defense than we do, better schematic defense than we do, but I'm looking at that offense. That offense is very unimpressive. Let's see it, man. Let's see if Johnny Manziel can justify what we're going to pay him on the franchise tag this year. How on, boys? We have what? 1 playoff win in this whole rebuild? 8 years, 1 playoff win. So, great time to get number 2. Looking good, but it does feel like anytime we score, they're doing something. We did go in with a halftime lead, slim halftime lead. We score with our first possession of the second half. 10 straight points, 7 net in the second half here for the Browns. It looks like our defense at least able to muddy this thing up. There was just no way that Jets offense should have been able to hang with us. And Manziel gets a very deserved playoff win. Plays not bad. Better than Jimmy Garoppolo. That's all he needed to do. Ooh, that's an interesting matchup for the championship. We get the 13-4 Denver Broncos, who are very good at everything. The only other time, way back in 2015, when we got our first playoff win, we beat the Jags in the wild card. Then we lost to Denver in the divisional. So they have had their number in this rebuild so far. But, you know, this is tight. They're slightly better than us. We're the home team. Maybe we need the dog pound here to will us to find a way to get to the Super Bowl. Come on, Johnny. Let's get a signature win. Just act like you're playing Alabama as a true freshman. Be unstoppable. Be undeniable. Opening drive score by the Browns. Our defense forces a punt. Denver scores to start the second quarter. We respond with a touchdown to go in. 10 straight points. Halftime lead. Denver's not going to go away, though. They're too damn good. We're going to need to beat them. We can't just coast. We're going to need a touchdown here. Oh, our defense just steps up then. How about that? 20-14, Money Manziel. Well, it was more so Money Garrett. Hell yeah, taking down MVP Tim Tebow in this world. Manziel and Tebow, the 2 best quarterbacks in the AFC. I'm welcome for this timeline. I'm down for this timeline. I don't know about you guys. Derrick Henry gets the rushing touchdown. This guy, Vince Mayle, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, who would have thought? With Njoku, Mike Evans, Josh Gordon, Derrick Henry, Vince Mayle would be the guy stepping up. I'm looking at the defense, man. Manuel Ogba, been one of maybe the most underrated players in the NFL on the defensive side of the ball. Myles Garrett does his damn thing. Joe Hayden with a huge forced fumble turnover. And the Browns in 2018 are in the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is set. It is your Cleveland Browns at 14-3 against the 9-8 New Orleans Saints. Have a talent advantage on defense. Top 3 rushing offense. Pretty solid offense across the board, but that's a bottom 5 defense schematically in terms of points allowed. They're not great against the pass. Not really great against the run. They do have Cam Jordan. Was Cam Jordan on the team at the start of this rebuild? I'm thinking of how old. I mean, he's been around for a while. But that would be also kind of cool if they didn't end up drafting him early on. They have Blake Bortles as their quarterback. Lamar Jackson not quite ready as a rookie. Not good enough to take over for the boat. I mean, the right call. They made the Super Bowl with him. Mark Ingram's a beast. 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns. They get Perryman, Curtis Samuel, DJ Chark, Jimmy Graham at receiver. So, like, no real dominating, take the game over type player. I guess Jimmy Graham can do that. Defensively, they got Kiko Alonso. They got Jordan Cameron. Or Jordan Cameron. Gabriel Jordan. We have Jordan Cameron. They have Gabriel Jordan. 8.5 sacks on 11 TFLs. They got Lewis Nix, RIP. Irish Chocolate. Daniil Hunter, Luke Kuechly. Jair Alexander. They got Deion Jones, who we had fully scouted a draft ago. He was a first round. They got William Jackson, who played some good corner in his career with the Bengals. So, I mean, they got talent for sure, but this feels like a terrific opportunity to get the Browns their first Super Bowl. I mean, honest, fellas, I'm not gonna force this. I'm probably gonna play. I can't. I just watched Arsenal lose to Man City. I can't take another fucking loss today. You know what I'm saying? That's the good lucky day for people that want to see the Browns win a Super Bowl. I cannot take this L right now. Let's cash our Super Bowl in. We're in salary cap hell with Johnny Manziel just not wanting to stay here, even though he's clearly the face of this video. Give me a goddamn win. I'm going to earn it. Let's go. Usually it's so often we have to come in with a defense, or with the offense, and just find a way to get us, we're going to win this one. Myles Garrett sack. Or, we won anyways! See? That's how you fucking win, Arsenal. Bunch of losers. Browns are Super Bowl champions. Johnny Manziel out-dueling the boat. Blake Moore, I would have loved an opportunity to really hop in on offense there and, throw a Manziel to Mike Evans or Josh Gordon touchdown. But that just proves that our team's ready to win. That was the team that we have rebuilt with Johnny Manziel under center is good enough in the wild world of unpredictable Madden sim, which usually tends towards dog shit Madden sim. We are good enough to win a Super Bowl. And there's your coach of the year, Pat Shurmur. Fuck yes. Let's see here who's going to get our Super Bowl MVP award. Manziel was hyper efficient. But both quarterbacks, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Derrick Henry, 62 yards and a touchdown. Mike Evans, 97 yards on 9 catches and a touchdown. He's in pole position. Got a couple sacks there. The D-line showed up. Joe Hayden with a huge pick. But I think for me, Super Bowl MVP, that man right there, Mike Evans. So as a clear locker, still can't buy a dev trade for Johnny Manziel, which kind of stings. But we do get a superstar dev trade increase on Corbett for getting lineman of the year. David Njoku goes from star up to superstar. Nick Chubb was just a superstar out the gate. Brian O'Neill at a star dev there. So overall, some wins, even though we can't budge Johnny Manziel off that star. Danny Shelton goes from normal to star, so that makes me feel a little bit better about that contract extension. Ogba goes from normal up to a star. Buster Screen, who we're going to lose in free agency, I think, goes from star up to superstar. Denzel Ward's base dev trade is a superstar, so what a rookie class we had coming in here. So we're going to start franchise tagging $80 million on Johnny Manziel. We are going to decline that for Derrick Henry so we can get ahead of a big extension. So just lock him up for the rest of his prime. Damn it. I mean, we're not spending that money elsewhere. I think even just for 1 year, if we can get him to come back, winning DB of the year, we'll go 12-12 or 11-12. 1 year, 23. We'll keep Buster Skrine in the building. He's been here since the very beginning of the rebuild. But that male guy stepped up. I think we can replace that. Jordan Cameron's gone. He's been a good, loyal servant to the Browns, but it's time that we just can't afford to pay everybody, especially when our quarterback's making $80 million. That means we're going into the offseason here. I mean, I feel pretty good about the O-line. Cam Irving is, looks like the weak link, but he's serviceable enough. I might not be too early to consider a wide receiver. We do have John Ross, who's kind of just been a guy, but Josh Gordon's not getting any younger. So that could be, get a young wide receiver in the pipeline. A backup quarterback, just with Johnny Manziel's contract situation, might not be the worst idea. Because we are going to hit the wheel spin here to figure out what we're doing in the draft. I mean, I think Scooby Wright's fine enough at linebacker. Him and Joe Schobert's a good pairing. Myles Garrett and Ogba, we've got by. Our safety deal was solid. Could use maybe an upsidey corner, knowing that Screen's likely only here for a 1 year. D-tackle would be a big need. Ogunjo will be solid, but if we could find someone a little bit higher ceiling to pair next to Jenny Shelton, that would be ideal. We're going to look here at the winning wheel spin for your Super Bowl champion Cleveland Browns. Ooh, for the first time, we roll pink slips, which means we have to go look at who we defeated this season and decide which one of their draft picks we want to steal to make our own. This is AKA how we used to do it in the first go of our 20-year rebuilds. So with our pink slips pick, I'm going to take a little bit of eagle bias here because we have our winning over Washington. That could have netted us their third-round pick. We could swap third-round picks, which would get us in return scary Terry McLaurin. However, week 5, we defeated the Titans, and in the second round of the 2019 draft, the Titans selected. Instead of us getting Greedy Williams, we are going to get A.J. Brown. So here we go, our big pink slips selection. No more Greedy Williams. Great what if. Love to cut up, but look at that. That is our newbie. We just talked about it, man. Josh Gordon, still Josh Gordon, but I think he's 29, so he's at his ceiling, like 86, starting to regress a little bit. We got the pipeline. We got a great, terrific wide receiver 3 in A.J. Brown. Have him work the middle of the field, run his slants, and then long term, what we're going to be able to potentially do with him. Very excited. Alrighty, so A.J. Brown comes in, 77 rated with a dev trait. Taki, 68 normal. Red Wine, 66, 69 on Mac Wilson. So, like, there's some developmental options here, but it is an incredibly top-heavy draft with A.J. Brown. We got to get him at number 11 here. But that's going to be sick, man. So as we look to defend our Super Bowl crown here in the 2019 season, offensively, everyone is ascending. We get that A.J. Brown and just got to hopefully get some clarity to the long-term contract of Johnny Manziel this year. Defensively, we had guys step up. Ogba stepped up last year. Scooby Wright stepped up last year. Danny Shelton stepped up last year. Let's have more of that. Let's have Myles Garrett continue to game wreck the league, and I think we're going to have a terrific opportunity to go and defend this Super Bowl crown. As for our challenge, the Browns in 2019 went 6-10. We should be able to sleepwalk to that upgrade, which probably gonna want that. This is a look at our class. I mean, Donovan Peoples-Jones was value at that range. Grant Delpit's been a very solid player. Like, I wouldn't have any problem getting that. Jedrick Wills in the first round, especially with how our roster is right now. I'd love to swap out that pick, be it just going BPA or a pink slips upgrade. You know, our O-line's set right now, especially at, like, even if you made the argument, like, slide him into guard, don't need that right now. I'd much rather go target, like, a defensive tackle or, you know, a high-end quarterback, like a developmental quarterback, in case Manziel's situation keeps getting ugly. So we roll into our bye week. Not a great record for a defending Super Bowl champ. We are 5-4. Offense is playing pretty well. Defensively struggling a little bit. Well, usually when you come out of your bye week, your defensive ratings go up because it's against the average. 6 wins is our bare minimum, so we're right in line to get 7 so that we can upgrade our pick. But 5-4 doesn't really inspire a lot of great confidence going forward here. We got Johnny Manziel. Let's just start with this. Of course you're looking for better offers, you fucking prick. Well, we got a bunch of starters here. Scooby Wright's a starter. Ogba's a starter. What's he looking for, 13 a year? That's a little pricey. I think we're at a spot where we have exciting names. We're not going to be able to just keep guys because you assume. Like, for example, Derrick Henry's not a lock to make the. We have Nick Chubb on a rookie deal. I love Derrick Henry. He got us a Super Bowl. But for how Myles Garrett's contract's coming up, right? That's going to be $1 billion. I think the fact that I had to overpay to bring back Derrick Henry while we have Nick Chubb on a rookie deal is also a superstar running back. We got to think about it not just within what we know these players in real life. We got to treat it like a rebuild, a true rebuild. I think maybe the most irreplaceable is Joe Schobert at linebacker. He's been really, really solid. That's not a terrible number. If we can get us to bring it 5, let's go 4.5, 6, somewhere like that. There we go. We got Schobert lined up. Let's see if we can figure out Manziel's contract extension. Then maybe, you know, some of these other names might make a little more sense. All right, we get our 6th win to equal, and what better way to reward a contract extension? Joe Schobert gets Defensive Player of the Week. We're going to come back to the table with Manziel. This is just fucking agonizing. 38.5, 36. Yes, finally! But I do think we got to go Nick Chubb or Derrick Henry from a pure salary cap standpoint. Let's see where he's at the end of the year. I think we can wait. It's going to be a 1 year either way. Same with Ogba. If Ogba crushes it again, it might be able to, you know, keep the tandem of him and Myles Garrett here together. I think like in Scooby Wright's case, it would have been a great for him to like pop up dev trait and do the career turnaround from one of the greatest college linebackers. But the reality is, at that price point, at that age, every little bit can save. And we got Mac Wilson, who has, I think, an equally similar upside as Scooby Wright at this point. We just got to kind of go with some of our cheap, affordable players here. Well, record's hot trash at 7-6, still fighting for a wild card spot. But with that win there over the Pittsburgh Steelers, it does give us our target, our challenge met, and we're going to get to spin the wheel at the end of the year. Well, has the team ever gone from the 1 seed winning their division and winning the Super Bowl to not even going above 500? I have no... Well, I can tell you what happened. Where did our rush offense go? Why did our defense get 10 points worse pretty much across the board? Well, our roster is 91, 93, 91. Look, my game's broken. That's the only thing that makes sense, is that everything was broken. And by the way, while we're just here at this glitch screen, Alshon Jeffrey's career stats are going to look fucking ridiculous. I think literally he's going to break all of Jerry Rice's records. So I honestly think at this point, to distract from the fact that, like, what the... Okay, great year not to pay Derrick Henry. But the draft... We got 3,000-yard receivers, and we still fucking can't make the playoffs. Dude. I mean, defensively, took a... Yeah, I think we might have to pay Ogba, honestly, with how he's playing. Defensively, though, not the worst numbers across the board that we've had in a rebuild. But I will take just ignore the fact that we just lost and failed to defend our Super Bowl crown. Let's go look at the career stats here. I got to see this of... obviously, Andy Dalton's just putting up insane numbers. But I think Alshon is disgusting. Alshon has been in the league for 8 years and has 14,000 yards and 166 touchdowns. I literally saw that it was Alshon Jeffrey got like arrested a couple days ago for insurance fraud. So good for Alshon here, man. He needed a win. He loses a goat. Peyton Hillis has retired after 12 seasons. The cover athlete. Happy we got him a Super Bowl and finished his career out the right way, how it should have happened in real life. Now, as far as dev traits are concerned, A.J. Brown is a superstar dev trait. We did not, again, gain anything on Johnny Manziel. No dev traits up or down for the rest of the offense. Defensively, thought Ogba might have had a shot at going up dev. We got Joe Hayden back up to a superstar, so 3 superstars deep across our corner room. But, yeah, I mean, just what a waste of a year. All right, here we go to the winner's wheel. Need us to be a nice win to kind of offset the fact that we finished below 500. Ooh, okay, another pink slips roll. Back-to-back years. We got 8 wins. Hopefully we can snipe somebody. Oh, it was a bad pink slips. We beat the Bengals. Joe Burrow. We beat the Chargers this year. Justin Herbert. We've committed to Johnny Manziel. So, the player we're going to be stealing, I'll show you the sheet. The only one that makes sense is Patrick Queen from our Ravens win. Beat the Ravens here week 12 pretty convincingly. I mean, there's other value, but I don't think they really are that great. Like, we beat Pittsburgh. They had Alex Highsmith in the 3rd round, but he doesn't really look like a crazy player in this draft class. Ravens also had in the 3rd round Andy Madubuike. He looks solid. Doesn't look as good as Patrick Queen. And I think with our linebacking room, we're losing Scooby Wright. Could have an opening, and maybe we get a good dev trade on Patrick Queen. But certainly in terms of, like, hindsight, we can't win another Super Bowl. We are passing up on Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, which, I mean, we kind of have to, but also we kind of don't have to if we didn't really want to. But next up, we got to pay this man right here. So every roster move until we get him signed to a life, probably a 7-year deal. That's unfortunately Derrick Henry. We don't really have a corner coming in the pipeline. I think we could bring him back. It'll go like 7.5 and round it up to 8. There we go. We'll keep scrying for a 1 year. I think Ogba's earned a contract extension, to be honest with you. That's not brutal money, but that's also certainly not like a deal. Hey, tells us go frig ourselves. Awesome. Scooby Wright, of course, goes up dev trait. God damn it. Well, I mean, we needed BPA roll. This was not the year to roll pink slips and have it be super beneficial for the Browns. So I'm going to go and get Leonard Floyd as our free agent pass rush. But more so, we got to look and watch as Derrick Henry joins the Kansas City Chiefs. Great. What the fuck did we just do for the rest? Like, the Did we just snowball start something over there or what? So with our pick slips win, instead of Jedrick Wills, who we don't really need, we get Patrick Queen at linebacker, stealing him away from the Baltimore Ravens. 39 in true value, does come with a dev trait, great athletic profile as well. Take a look at our draft, ends up being fairly solid across the board. Harrison Bryant pulls a 70+ rating, which isn't shocking. He was the Mackey winner that year in college, coming as the best tight end from college football in the draft, but just a normal dev on everybody. DPJ, 69 normal. Grant Delpit, 74 with the dev trait at free safety, and Patrick Queen, 74 with the dev trait at Mike linebacker. I have to find a way to get Delpit on the field. I mean, our current free safety is Jordan Poyer. He's getting up there in age a little bit. I think his contract's coming up, so there might be a nice little salary cap benefit with this selection. We need a bounce back year in a big way. 8-9 last season was unacceptable. So in 2020, we have Nick Chubb now as our RB2. We're going to get a lot more A.J. Brown, I think, in the offense. The O-line's one of the best O-lines in the league. And Njoku now is a superstar. Let's see it, man. We have a fine blend of past, present, and brand new elite level Browns, putting all the eras and what-if scenarios to full display. We add Leonard Floyd in free agency. That was a great get for us. Patrick Queen, middle linebacker with Joe Schobert. We're going to have Delpit play a little bit, but it's primarily, it's going to be a little bit of a redshirt season there. Secondary's on point. I think on paper, one of the best secondaries, one of the best defenses, one of the best offenses. We are very much our team ratings across the board. 90 rated, 92 offense, 89 defense. But the pressure is on. You can make the argument we've had cupcake challenges where we had to get like 4 wins to get a good roll. This year was a different story. The Browns in 2020 went 11-5. So, we've only gone over 11 wins to get the upgraded pick once in this rebuild. Was the year we won the Super Bowl. In 2018, we went 14-3. Other than that, our best previous records was in 2015 and 2017, where we had 11 wins. We have to equal that to not get the loser wheel. And we should. Absolutely, we should. But also, this team is underwhelmed before. Wouldn't be shocked if it happens again. Draft class that we are speaking of, certainly I can live with if we break even. If we get 11 wins, we have to stick with Greg Newsome, J.O.K., Tommy Togiai. I was a big fan of him coming to Ohio State, and he's now like a very valuable starter in real life with the Houston Texans. I believe he was a starting D tackle for them. I remember I thought Demetric Felton was going to be the next big thing at running back, the big steal of the draft. Anthony Schwartz comes in with great speed. So it's not a terrible class if we had to just run it back with it, but I'd love to upgrade it for sure. So we're at the midway point. 6-5 is not a terrible spot to be. Could be way worse, but if we lose one more game, we do actually have the benefit of the extra game, I suppose. I can't say that. Because it's about the wins. It's not about the losses. But we are flirting with dangerous territory. We lose 2 more times, we are going to have to spin out and break out, knock the dust off the loser wheel, which I was kind of hoping to avoid this whole freaking rebuild. Well, let's see what we got here. We got Myles Garrett, mega extension. There we go. There's just $450 million gone. I mean, what else are you going to do? Well, we have a lot of other decisions we need to make. A lot of starters. Ogunjobi's a starter. Can't really afford it. Mr. Schwartz is really good, but that's pretty expensive for 2 seasons of play. It's just been 1 year rentals for screen. I think we got to get younger. Josh Gordon, I wish there was interest. If there's interest, I'd bring it back. The fact that I had to overpay him, we have A.J. Brown waiting in the pipeline. I think that's just shout out for you to getting 1,000 yards every year, but we have got to think this is, we're at the halfway point of the rebuild. I still got 10 more years. I do not want to put ourselves in a horrific salary cap. I think something like Joe Hayden would be worth keeping around. See if we can get him back on a 2-year deal, which we can. I think him and Denzel Ward's going to be big for us. Jabril Peppers at 24 years old. I think, that cap number's pretty big. You get him on a 5, we'll round that up just a little bit. He's gonna be well into the 90s when all is said and done. So I think that contract will age well, even though it's a little expensive in a non-premium position. And Njoku's been solid, very good player, but our tight end is when you have A.J. Brown and Mike Evans as your go-to wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. I think you can facilitate that wide receiver 3 instead of Josh Gordon, and that tight end 1 instead of David Njoku. Get those as affordable players, not expensive premium players. I think that's what we're going to have to do here, unfortunately. And it's official. Why do we fucking suck? Our team is, we have the best roster. I have rebuilt the shit out of this team. Even our ratings aren't that bad. Dude, we are going to fucking loser wheel for the first time. God damn it. Yeah, of course, we're going to win out, make the playoffs or something like that. But, I mean, hey, sure, why not? We go, why? Yeah. What a weird year. But we make the playoffs. The end of the game is not about wheel spins and draft picks, about winning Super Bowls. And we got at least a ticket to the lottery. Looking at our plays here, Manziel was pretty good. He was third in the league in passing yards, 32 touchdowns, 6 picks. Living up to his contract, playing like that. Can't get our run game going, though, man. That's weird. I thought Nick Chubb really would hit the ground running. It's definitely giving me the idea that we don't pay running backs here. You almost feel like Derrick Henry never really did a whole lot. Never really lived up to King Henry vibes. And while, yes, first year as a starter for Nick Chubb, that's not really giving me great confidence that running back is a position that's worth spending money on. Mike Evans, oh, we didn't get our 2,000-yard receivers either. That streak ends. Mike Evans, 8, though. 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, just under 1,000, which I can live with. Josh Gordon was solid in his final year. We'll do a little look back at his career. 16 sacks, Myles Garrett. 13 for Leonard Floyd. 7.5 for Danny Shelton. And the INTs are, well, I've seen worse. We didn't have a single award winner, so let's just run into the playoffs. Rip the Band-Aid off. I mean, my expectations are very low. But, you know, imagine if our team plays to their ratings. We will kick the shit out of Denver and get a nice road upset here. But it doesn't look to be the case. Struggling. You know, can't even stiff the end zone there. But a touchdown, and then they respond with their own touchdown. No momentum at any point in this game was it being able to be gained. And our defense, that is probably the highest rated defense in the conference, gives up 41 points. Because, I don't know, we had to do something. That is 2 back-to-back dog shit seasons after winning the Super Bowl. And we're just at that weird spot where, like, our defense is still pretty good. Like, schematically, I don't really think any of these schemes have to change. Just why has there been a drop-off? Like, we just got fucking our Chiefs clapped by Tim Tebow. God bless. As is the end of an era for a couple players. Before we get to the loser wheel, let's have some nice vibes here. 8,500 yards, 45 touchdowns for Josh Gordon. A what if that we have definitely answered at the, you know, through this rebuild. It was awesome. Glad I remembered to actually get him because he was a supplemental pick, not an actual draft pick. David Njoku was solid. I mean, you know, he's probably going to play better football going forward. We just can't afford him at this price point at this given time. And we lose a bunch of screeners, but it's just the very beginning of the rebuild. Over 1,000 tackles, 26 TFLs, 17 picks, 55 PBUs. Hell of a career. So, I mean, there is a chance that it would be a great cop-out. Much like the winner wheel, we do have the green and yellow options, which are universal, which would be an Al Davis pick, which would sting, or the actual pick, which I'd be fine with our given class. But if we go in the blue, it's a bust, which means we have to take our top pick, which was Greg Newsome, and pick the worst pick available. Oh, my God. Now, what we'll do here, because it's a loser wheel, I won't pick and choose what round. We'll take our top pick, which was Newsome, right? And I will switch that pick for the most athletic player in the class, good or bad. I don't know what the hell's going on. The Raz site is down right now. So if we're like trying to make the argument, I think the mcbride was really the pick, but it's a loser wheel. He's probably was like the pound for pound freakiest athlete around the 4.39 at 6'3", 246. I think in terms of like a punishing selection, I think we might have to take a trip down memory lane. And honor a great that unfortunately didn't pan on the end. I think you make the argument Rondale Moore. Let me move it down so you guys can actually see it. Rondale Moore here probably was the pound for pound at 5'7", 180. But he ran a 4.28 with a 42.5-inch vertical. Sub-7, almost sub-4 shuttle. So that'll be our pick. We're going to switch out Newsome in the first round for Rondale Moore. Okay, we don't really need a wide receiver at all, but big fan of Rondale Moore, and I certainly hope, like many players that haven't had really good careers, we can reinvent them here in this rebuild. Also, that's going to get us to pivot here a little bit, because no more Newsome means we're not going to have a corner coming in. So I think if we can get Buster Skrine back here, we're not going to spend that money elsewhere on a one-year deal. Gives us that depth, makes up for that pick. We declined the option on Denzel Ward. We'll get ahead of that contract. I actually accepted the option. Where'd he go? On Brian O'Neill, just so I don't have to deal with both those contracts in the same time. Man, I wonder if we could get Schwartz back for 1 year. What if I give him like $20 million? Just one last position I don't have to worry about. Come on! We know the draft that we have coming in. You know, we're going to get JOK at linebacker, Rondale Moore at wide receiver. We're not getting a right tackle. We're not getting a tight end. So those are going to be... I mean, Harrison Bride's 76. We might be able to get by with him. Definitely need a right tackle to replace Schwartz. Defensively, I think a D tackle 2 would be big help. All right, so looking at free agency, which is going to be painful because we have to go watch our guys play. Why do they keep taking our sloppy seconds? Josh Gordon to the Chiefs, David Njoku to the Texans, and Mitchell Schwartz to the Patriots. We are able to get Taylor Moton in at right tackle, $27.79. But man, oh man, Kansas City, frig off. Like first Derrick Henry, now Josh Gordon. There's a look at our draft recap, and it's, you know, as a whole, the class, not terrible. Like all these guys are like depth. Togiai 69 could develop into something. Schwartz has a 69. I think a lot of that's based off his athletic profile. Same with Rondale Moore. You know, for a losing wheel pick, still pulling a 70 rated player, but I mean, a lot of that is based off of his athleticism. And we know we gave up Greg Newsome, who is definitely going to be probably a 74, 75 dev trade corner. And corner's a position of need. Rondale Moore is going to be buried on our wide receiver depth chart. I don't know if we'll ever really get a great opportunity to turn his career around. So it definitely is a punishing pick. Luckily, we do get JOK. Get to go with like a what if he didn't have the head injury and stuff like that, like a linebacking core. We got Schobert, who's now a veteran, but like long-term JOK and Patrick Queen. That could be a pretty nasty 1-2 punch in the middle of our defense. It is now the 2021 season, year 11 of our 20-year rebuild, and our team is, we're at like a weird purgatory where the good is Johnny Manziel's now a superstar dev. At 28 years old, he's turned the football over less. He's played some of the best football of his career. It's just not translating to wins. Like, I have no idea what is wrong with this team. We just don't have a great run game, which is weird because we have talent, but that leads you to believe like it's more of a schematic thing. And because the fact that, at least if you're looking at the offense, that Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans are worth like $1 billion each in terms of contracts, our team's not a super team. No more, right? We got to rely on Rondale Moore a little bit. We got to rely on, like, you know, serviceable rentals on the offensive line at tight end. Like, these guys are going to have to pan out, and more so, we need our expensive players to dominate. Defensively, we're going to give Togiai a chance here to develop along Danny Shelton, but again, just not a complete defensive front, not a super team, which is usually required to go on and win a Super Bowl. I love our secondary still. Our linebacking core is great. Patrick Queen, Schobert. It doesn't show because the depth chart's always screwed up, but JOK is the most exciting player that we just brought in from that draft class. So, I mean, we have more than enough talent to go on a win. Go ahead and get back to a Super Bowl. But our goal this year, our target, the 2021 Browns went 8-9. So, I feel comfortable that our 90-rated team will finish above 500, and we can get a better upgraded draft pick, because we certainly need it. Looking at the class that we have coming in for the Browns, not great. We got Martin Emerson, solid. Everything else is just like you got a couple guys that have stuck around the league. Jerome Ford. I thought Winfrey was actually going to be a pretty good player coming out of Oklahoma, but this is definitely a class that could use an upgrade. 9 wins, and we get it. It is a great time to pause. Kansas City been taking our sloppy seconds. We beat the shit out of them. 44-7, getting both offensive and defensive player of the week, Manziel and Garrett. And that's going to give me some momentum going into contract negotiations. I think the biggest issue for me in this rebuild, from like stuff that's not in our control, has been every time it's come to contract negotiations, we do not have any interest in our players staying. Skrine, Randall, time's up. Jordan Poyer, we have Grant Delpit to take over. Nick Chubb, that's a really reasonable number. I think we could pay that because he wants to be here. But like, I'm glad because he was offering us more money, I couldn't keep him because even though he is Nick Chubb, we don't use a running back like that. We have former lineman of the year Corbett looking for $100 million. Well, the reality is we gotta find a way here to pay Denzel Ward, and I literally can't. Can't even give him a 6. Like, we might just have to franchise tag him, honestly. There we go, beautiful. At week 14, we get our 9th win. We move to 9-4, and that means we will not have to bring out that godforsaken loser wheel. We get to upgrade one of our picks for a much-needed draft class that needs some help there. We have a weekly award winner. Shout out Money Manziel. making sure we're getting a top-notch pick upgrade at the end of the season. Well, if you believe it, we go 11-6 this season. We end up with pretty decent, really good defense. Top 10 passing offense. Our run game is, I still think bringing back Nick Chubb at that price point was the right call. But in year 11, we win our second AFC North title, going 11-6. We get to find out right away in the wildcard round who the best team truly is. Well, that is insane for the team that we've had. And of course, here we go. Manziel, just a super weird drop-off in production type season. Great. $500 million, $500 million quarterback. Nick Chubb was serviceable. We get a 2,000-yard receiver, so that's cool. And we got that back going again. Mike Evans and A.J. Brown, both. And I mean, they should be. Our passing attack with these two guys should be incredible. Defensively, we got 18 sacks from Myles Garrett on 20 TFLs. Double-digit sacks for Floyd. Solid year from Danny Shelton. Solid year from Tommy Togiai. Might be able to low-key develop him into a serviceable starter for us. 7 TFLs, 5.5 sacks for the rookie D tackle. And the ageless Joe Hayden leading the team with 5 picks. We got our second Coach of the Year award for Pat Shurmur. Kind of weird. We weren't really that great, but sure, we'll stack those. That's the second time he's won that award in this rebuild. We get D Lineman of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year going to Myles Garrett. Shit, we were actually very close to getting a Defensive Rookie of the Year as well. Just keep seeing it. Every time I look at anything, it's like, oh, Alshon wins this, Alshon wins that. Look at what? His numbers are getting better the older he gets. And he's already caught him on the touchdowns. All-time leader is Alshon Jeffrey, and I'm sure he'll play like 3-4 more years and get the yards. All right, well, we got Pittsburgh here in the wildcard round at home. We have the best defensive player in the league, Myles Garrett. We're going to need him to do everything in his power to ensure that we get a little bit of a playoff run here. I'm not going to lie. This is kind of our window. We're about at the downswing of the state of this roster. You know, Mike Evans, Johnny Manziel. You know, within the eyes of Madden, like Myles Garrett could probably start slowing down. We have Joe Hayden. Who knows how many more years of his prime we have left. So we're really in a position now that like this would be a great year to kind of cash in a second Super Bowl. For the talent that we have, 2 Super Bowls kind of seems like the minimum you want to leave with. And at least we get to, reinforce our dominance of the division. We were truly the best team this year. Wasn't a dominating performance, but the performance we needed to get out of here against Dak and the Steelers to continue our playoff journey. The division round, we get the Oakland Raiders. They have a 91 rated offense. Good God, run the football. They have Odell, Teddy Bridgewater, Jonathan Taylor, the number 2 defense. We're going to need some of that home field magic, I think, to get past them in this one. But you know what? Teddy Bridgewater is no Johnny Manziel in this world. So we need Johnny Manziel, Money Manziel. We just need our billion-dollar offense of Manziel and Mike Evans. Like, let's get a 3-touchdown performance. Undeniable performance. Regardless of what Myles Garrett and that defense does, we need these guys to take off. We got a nice lead, but we need to keep. We can't just rest our laurels at 21 points. We need 30 bomb. Look at the defense shutting out the Raiders for most of the second half. What a effort. 24-14. The Browns are back in the AFC Championship game. And a very solid showing by Manziel and company. But I think it was the defense setting up, closing shop in the second half that got this one over the line. And we get the 12-5 on the road Buffalo Bills, who are the number 1 defense in the league. Marcus Mariota's a 97 rated. They got Marcel Darius there, Zeke Elliott, some names you haven't heard in a minute. They don't score a lot of points, but man, oh man, that is a very good defense. It's going to be a tough one. But Super Bowl on the line. Let's see some Money Manziel magic. Let's also appreciate where we're at, man. The Browns in real life didn't even go above 500 this year. We are a win away from getting to the Super Bowl. It's a snow game. I mean, that seems like worst case scenario. You're trying to deal with Manziel. Denzel over the pick. We didn't get any points of that, though. That was like a red zone turnover. 0 on the board. As we look to, that's the big question this offseason. How are we going to handle that Denzel Ward contract? But look at the way the defense is going. Puts in a whole shutout for 3 quarters. Kick the field goal, just up. What? Man, the defense is on fire. We have the best defensive players in the league. Our secondary literally is salary cap breaking. I can't afford to keep our secondary together. That is how damn good they are. And Mariota can't get anything going. Look at that. Money Manziel, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, very efficient. 2 picks forced on Mariota. Manziel with a rushing touchdown. Harrison Bryant's kind of developing a little bit. Us, the Mackey winner. And Denzel wore the pick. Joe Hayden with the pick. The defense got a couple pressures there. And the Browns are back in the Super Bowl. Ooh, we got a tough one here. The Arizona Cardinals, 91 rated, a 93 rated offense, top 10 offense, top 10 defense. Let me get a little look-see. How did they do this? Russell Wilson at quarterback, played really well. They got Jeremy Hill. I mean, I love looking at it. You just see, who the hell? Aaron Dobson, T.Y. Hilton, Stephon Diggs. So clearly they got a potent slot wide receiver, I would assume. That's how I interpret that. They got Kirksey. Spent a lot of time here with us. Their offensive line looks... You got Valdir Robinson, DJ Humphries, Connor McGovern, Frank Ragnow. So like a solid offensive line. Defensively, Christian Kirksey. They got the great Patrick Peterson. Their pass rush is solid. Kamoko Toure, the freak of nature, Dontari Poe. They got more of our sloppy seconds, Barkevius Mingo. Two of the best defensive players, homegrown Browns. You got the Diggs brothers as well. Trevon on defense, Stephon on offense. I mean, that's a good team right there. Shout out Sidney Jones, Eagles legend. Now, because we already have a Super Bowl cash, it's not like I'm playing in for. I think we get a moment per half that we can hop in. I want to see if our team can do it, but the fact that we just turned it over. All right, let's go right here. This will be my moment of the first half. Keep this drive alive. Honestly, let's see if we can get some slant yak from A.J. Brown. Oh, boy. Can we ever? Oh, can we ever? A.J. Brown takes that one all the way down to the Cardinals, 23, and we're not going to win. Get a big play like that, have to settle for a field goal, and then our defense that has been so elite hasn't been able to get a stop. Come on! Just because you're the Browns in name doesn't mean you have to act like the Browns in this world. We have an opportunity in the second half. I'm going to cash it in right now. I feel like an opportunity to tie this game up. This is the moment. You got Rondale Moore. Can he have a moment? Oh, we'll go right middle of the field. We'll go to Mike Evans. We'll let A.J. Brown miss the block. I'm going to assume they finish that drive up. Fucking and kidding me. Insta score is huge. Oh, let's just watch this one. Can they play them? We're going to overtime. Ladies and gentlemen, going in overtime. The Cardinals get the ball first. Russell Wilson forces a 3rd and inches. Moves the chains. They go backwards. They go forwards. They move the chains. Stephon Diggs, 20 yards. We need a bend, not break here. Hold him to a field goal. Huge 3rd and 3. Make it 3rd and 8. Agonizing, man. This elite defense that we've been able to rely on just doesn't have an answer for Russell Wilson in the Super Bowl here. All right, well, I'll tell you what. If we score a touchdown, I'll hop in and go for 2. Oh, we get a shot play. Mike Evans, 22 yards. That is a $500 million offense right there. Tandem, duo. A.J. Brown, 8 yards. Ooh, they're going to call my bluff. 19 to A.J. Brown. We got a 3rd and 10. A 4th and 5. I mean, the fact that we hopped in twice. And I said we got 3 points. 6 points off 2 perfect. Here you go, fucking score touchdown drives. They just didn't have it. That was the sign. If we were meant to win, they would have got touchdown instead of field goals on those assisted drives. Couldn't do it. Russell Wilson wins the Super Bowl. And the Browns enter an offseason where we have got to figure out how the hell we can afford Denzel Ward. Damn. I'm not gonna lie. I literally just offered him the same offer, and he accepted it. Still an insane amount of money. Insane amount of money. But for a guy that, from a rating standpoint, is going to be probably a 99 corner for a lot of this rebuild, I think it's what we need to do. We're going to decline the option on A.J. Brown. I bet you we could probably get him for less than 40. Maybe, give or take. You know what I'm saying? I think that'll be the best decision there. Okay, though. We're going to be losing a lot. Austin Corbett, starting safety. We're losing 2 starting DBs. But we get to spin the wheel and hopefully upgrade these picks and get a replacement. All right, the wheel of positivity is back. Come on, or blue or red. Oh, let's go. Needed that. So we had $0 in free agency, which means the only way we're getting better, let's just go right here towards the draft. Who is going to be the best player available for us? Of course, there's so much talent at running back. Do not need a running back. We are pretty good at wide receiver. You know, George Pickens is. We can literally take anybody. Best player available. It's the best role that you can get. But you know, we have our wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, tight end. I think we can be optimistic about the development of Harrison Bryant, but Trey McBride is on the board. That certainly needs to be considered. I think looking at our team as a whole, like we need a center guard. You know, man, Bryant probably doesn't need, you know, even though McBride's the best player, I think we could probably develop that. So I'm thinking center guard, long-term tackle can be in play, something on the offensive front 3. I'd like to keep developing Togi ID tackle, even though he doesn't have a dev trait, but another corner, like a nickel corner. We are going to get Martin Emerson. Like, he could probably fill that role. But it's, you know, I think O-line might be need to be our play here. The draft class was all botched. It literally, like, wouldn't let me make picks. I got it. Our BPA selection, instead of getting Alex Wright, the pass rusher, we got Trey McBride, the tight end out of Colorado State, 74 rated with a dev trait. We get Martin Emerson still. We get Bell, Winfrey, York, Ford, and Woods. York actually with a 75 rate is kind of crazy. But even with McBride, I think the logic here is, yes, we just had Harrison Bryant go up dev trait and played pretty well. With the state of our salary cap, I am not going to be able to pay a tight end. He's not going to be able to get a second contract here. So having Trey McBride, I think, gives us just, you know, it just kind of keeps affordability on our side, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Because we got to pay A.J. Brown soon. All right, it's time to start the 2022 season. How do we bounce back from a very disappointing Super Bowl loss? Well, we're 91s across the board. We're one of the best rosters in the game. And, you know, in terms of continuing to get better, we're a veteran roster, but we need to hit our goals here to start adding some really good young rookie talent. The Browns in 2022, our target goal, they went 7-10. So with our 91 rated roster, if we get 8 wins, we're going to be able to upgrade from a class that's not particularly good. You know, there's some name value there. DeJuan Jones looked like he might have been a starter for a minute. I think Cedric Tillman's still technically listed as a starting wide receiver for the current Browns. But yeah, pretty much at every level, if we can roll like a BPA or something like that, we'll be able to make the most of it. So we are 5-1 going into our bye week, well on pace to get the 8-win targets. Now it's about just if we can remain this consistent. Can we kind of finish out the year as a top 3 offense, top 5-ish defense, give or take? Looking at our contracts, $155 million. So we have Mr. A.J. Brown. Let's lock him in for a 5-year deal. And hopefully we give him the stats so he doesn't just check out on the team. We pretty much have to retain all of our good players at this point because, you know, our roster's starting to look a little shaky at spots. Let's get Petonio here on a 3-year deal. Joe Hayden, ooh. It's only a 1-year. I'm not going to be spending that money elsewhere. So let's make sure he retires a Brown. Danny Shelton's been awesome. $26 million, can't swing that. Leonard Floyd's been a value pick for us. I think we could probably dip into free agency and find another value pick. I did get J.C. Treader as a rental. I think we'll wait and see on the rest of these guys. As we drop 40 points on the Steelers, we move to 8-1. Check mark. Get to upgrade our pick at the end of the year. In some way, shape, or form, most likely. So that's a win. At the end of the season, we finish with the #1 offense, #1 defense. We go 15 to our best record by a mile to this point. We get the 1 seed. We get our 3rd AFC North championship. And we were conventionally the top team. So expectations are, especially losing a Super Bowl, redemption tour, we got to put it all together. Mike Evans was the 3rd leading receiver in the league this year. Johnny Manziel was solid. Definitely hasn't taken his game to another level since we paid him the mega extension, but like that's certainly like the floor of what I'd be expecting. Our run game is just kind of is what it is, kind of sucks. Mike Evans popped off. I mean, just honestly, generally the offensive numbers. McBride at tight end, 700 yards, 8 touchdowns for a rookie. He is a superstar dev. He had 6 points of upgrade late in the cycle here. Very nice. Look at that, 10K for 8 touchdowns, 15K almost for 70 catches. Certainly helping us there at tight end, but for the talent that we have, underwhelming numbers to say the least, even though we are the #1 offense in the league. Defensively, Myles Garrett continues just to be an absolute juggernaut. 20 TFLs on 97 tackles, 18.5 sacks, 12 sacks, Leonard Floyd, who unfortunately we can't afford to keep. 7 sacks for Danny Shelton, who we unfortunately can't afford to keep. Love seeing Denzel Ward with 5 picks, taking over that corner room from Joe Hayden as the top guy. Pat Shurmur wins his 3rd Coach of the Year title. We get Defensive Player of the Year and D Lineman of the Year going to Myles Garrett for the 2nd straight season. We get Denzel Ward getting DB of the Year. That could be, that could be something. We get Cade York Kicker of the Year. Sure, special teams matter. Very quick Alshon Jeffrey watch. If he plays one more year, which he should, he'll get 20,000 receiving yards. This is insane. Shout out Alshon. With the division round, we get a well-built Jets team. Almost 90s, 10-7 on the year. The number 2 defense, offensively low, kind of middle of them all. That should be where we pull ahead in this one. Let's see it at Huntington Bank. Do they have another name for it? It's like, I feel like the Browns Stadium used to have a name like Heinz Field, but now it's like Acrisure, like the equivalent of that. I don't know, though. I don't know if the Browns has like a stadium nickname. But we need them to, inspire the team a little bit more. 3 points. We might have to come in on this 4th down, try to nudge this. It's just disrespectful. Jets do have a good defense. So it's not like their offense that sucks is kind of taking this game over. But a quick nudge here. Go for it on 4th down. Go to the wide open. Trey McBride, get that block. Oh my God, what the fuck was that? That should have been a block and a run and score. Because we know our team usually does not bail us finish drives off with touchdowns. They do in that case. But at risk of being one and done, let's see if I can get them one shot play. I won't finish this drive off. See if we can get something here. Rondale Moore, we'll send him deep. We got Mike Evans in the slot. Oh. Oh my. Maybe one more. Maybe one more play. Maybe that's not close enough. Maybe one more play. There's something there, right there, though. Late, great Rondale Moore. Come on. Finish this off, boys. This team just fucking sucks, man. Fucking Johnny Manziel's. He's on fraud alert. The money's gone to his head. Money to his head, Manziel. That's his new fucking nickname. Come on, buddy. What are we, the Cowboys? Our roster is too damn expensive to be fucking one and done at home in the playoffs. There we are. I mean, it just signed Shedeur off the street, but Joe Hayden, that is a huge loss. Our X-Factor corner has retired after 13 seasons. From a legacy leaderboard, 2nd all-time in this world, right behind Patrick Peterson. So that means for us as a roster, man, our O-line needs a lot of help, right? Rulier's just a rental. We need a right guard. Like, that's going to be, unfortunately, it's not a sexy pick, but that's probably where we need to look for when we upgrade our pick. Hopefully, we'll spin the wheel in just 1 second because that needs a little TLC. Hell, even considering right tackle might be in play. But Trey McBride goes up to a superstar X Factor. So that's pretty sick, considering, like, I didn't love that pick last year, which is kind of the nature of the board. Defensively, right, I feel, Denzel Ward's definitely, based off his production last year, coming off a DB of the Year season. He is our corner one. I think we can continue to develop Martin Emerson here a little bit, but, like, ideally, Emerson's your 3. So I think corner 2 is a big need for us. We're going to need an edge rusher to take over for Leonard Floyd. So edge rush, corner 2, right-hand side of the offensive line. That's our needs. Now we get to spin here. I'll be pretty happy with any form of upgrade. Whoa, there we go. BPA, very nice. We're going to make our first trade of the rebuild. Our roster's on a spot where we do have surplus. Harrison Bryant with Trey McBride certainly became a surplus. 83, rookie contract, dev trait, 25 years old. We couldn't afford to keep Danny Shelton. We need a D-tackle. We have Justin Namdi, Matabuike on the Chiefs. Chiefs don't have a tight end. Matabuike, same age, same dev trade, 1 rating less. Because we are the buyers in the situation, I'll take the 1 point overall difference, and then it gives us... I mean, Matabuike's in the final year of his contract, so it could end up just being a 1-year rental, but we're a good enough roster. We should compete for a Super Bowl next year, and if we win one, and Matabuike gets a sack or 2 along the way, it'll be all worth this trade, even if we can't kind of hammer out a long-term extension off this trade. Now we have to get some budget options here at free agency. Gallard's going to come in as our starting center, $26.75, get him on a 2-year deal. And we're going to get Duke Dawson, who is going to play nickel. So we'll have Denzel Ward and Martin Emerson on the outside. Duke Dawson, Florida Gator bias, $26.82. Pretty decent price point, to be honest with you as well. So to go to the draft, we're going to go BPA at our given selection. And, well, we got a center. I think right guard certainly would be a top need. I would say still, if corner ends up being BPA, we got to consider it. Defensive tackle is a big need, and pass rusher. I'd love to get a D tackle or pass rusher if I had to power rank who I hope's available. Alrighty, best player available. Pick 28 in the first round, knowing our needs. At tackle, nope. At guard, nope. At center, Tippmann can play guard. Could consider that. Osiris Torrance probably could do worse. A run block, disciplined. Mr. Tippmann, don't know his ratings as much. Right tackle, we have breakthrough. No, not great. Defensively, what do we got? Pass rush, Kalijah Cansey. Get 6'1", I mean, kind of like a hybrid. If we drafted him, honestly, I'd probably play him a defensive tackle. Just not really in a good spot here. Javon Dexter, Gator bias. Damn. Moro Jomo. Damn. Nolan Smith at pass rush. He's probably, it's going to come down to either Nolan Smith or, unless I'm just completely blanking on somebody. Yeah, I mean, even if who's going to be at strong, Sidney Brown. Brian Branch is there. He's good, but we don't need a safety. Could have him play nickel corner. I'm thinking based off that, I think we'll go Nolan Smith here. BPA Nolan Smith, pass rusher. Let's go. Look at that, man. What a freak. Here's a look at our draft recap, and there's a chance. I got to do it through the mod tool so we don't lose his player portrait, but there's a chance when we move Nolan Smith to the other side of Myles Garrett as an actual defensive end that his rating will shoot up a little bit. Don't know how big, but I'm going to guess he'll probably break 70. We get a 70 rated on Cedric Tillman, 68 on DeJuan Jones, Ika 66, McGuire 66, get DTR and Cameron Mitchell. All in all, not a crazy class, but if we can, depending on how big that rating jumps up for Nolan Smith, it might not be too bad. The 2023 season is upon us. Taking a look offensively, this is a team that, we need our billion-dollar combo between Manziel and Mike Evans. They cannot struggle to get 10 points in the playoffs. Then you throw in the fact we have A.J. Brown and Trey McBride. Fellas, come on. I can't keep defending this. We were able to get Drew Sammy at right guard to come in and start late free agency. Could do a lot worse. Solid placeholder for the time being. But, it is a highlight, though. We don't have a super team. Our team is so expensive, we have to give and take in certain positions. And a little bit that is the center right guard spot there. Defensively, was able to put Nolan Smith. He goes from 68 all the way up to a 74. We got 75 after training camp. So I think him and Myles Garrett gives us a pair of two of the freakiest pass rushers. Schobert, Patrick Queen, and JOK at linebacker. Delpit and Peppers at safety. We get Madubuike in the trade. Togiai D tackle. It's a very solid front with elite linebacker play across the board. Our safety duo is fantastic. Corner room, we just lost Joe Hayden, so we're not going to be able to replace that in one offseason, but it's time for Denzel Ward to continue to be an on-the-island type corner. Dawson, 82. Emerson, 76. I think both those guys can continue to ascend, and they're far from playing their best football. So, the Browns this year. This is actually not going to be a gimme. They went 11-6. So, yes, we are coming off a 15-2 season. I'm still optimistic we can get at worst 11 for sure, go for 12 wins. Kind of needed again, common when we're talking about the Browns draft class, as this was another not great class. Then you look at the players that are available. Mike Hall, maybe the best of the bunch, and maybe that's more so from a Madden perspective. He still pulls a star dev trait if you were to load up Madden right now and do a Browns rebuild. But for the most part, absolutely try to target 12 wins so that we can upgrade one of these picks. Well, I'll tell you what, it's a shootout. Don't love the defensive performance, but we get a week 1 win over the Niners. We put up almost 50 points, and Johnny Manziel starts the year on fire. What about week? We are 4-2 on pace. On pace to have a very good season. On pace to get our 12-win target. Offensively, pretty good. Defensively, pretty good. But could be better in both those areas. Looking at our contracts here. Well, we got a couple starters. Moten at right tackle. Not paying him that amount of money. mcbride, we just made the trade for. I'd like to keep him. I think there's an ascending player there. Let's see. There we go. Very nice. Patrick Green, Grant Delpit. Big Mike. Oh, man. It's our duo. It's our duo. It's so much money. Oh, it's so much money. I honestly think for the sake of this rebuild, I think it's gonna cripple our roster. Like, we don't get Mike Evans. I can bring back Patrick Queen. I can bring back Grant Delpit. It's damn it. I think I at least got to withdraw that offer because we are clearly an offense that's only using one wide receiver, right? We've been struggling to get back to getting those 2,000-yard receivers. So, like, A.J. Brown could be that guy. That's how this offense is going to be. Patrick Queen, get him locked in. Whatever, upside plays plus 24. Like, he's a guy that has 95-plus X-factor potential at linebacker. So let's, let's try to get one more ring here with Manziel and Evans before it's time to. I just can't have that. That's just a ridiculous contract for a guy that's probably going to start regressing this offseason. All right, we have our final 2 games of the season. We're at 10-5. We're looking in a pretty good spot to make the playoffs. Pretty much confirmed at this point. But 1 win breaks us even with the 2023 Browns. It means we don't have to get the loser wheel. 2 wins. We get the upgrade, the pick with the state of our roster and knowing that we're just about to lose Mike Evans. It'd be huge, but 1 loss and it's over. Phenomenal. 1 more loss and we go to the loser wheel. All right. Well, what's the class again? This is the class that we have to use. Fuck me. You guys think Jamari Thrash can replace Mike Evans? You guys think about that? Well, the good news is Manziel figured it out. Johnny Manziel, top 5 quarterback statistically. Interceptions came back up again, but I'll take that. I'll take double-digit picks if he can get more than 29 touchdowns in a year. So that's kind of good. We got Nick Chubb over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. Felton run game got it going. Mike Evans 1,100 yards, 19 touchdowns. So they wanted to show out here a little bit. 4 yards shy of getting A.J. Brown 1,000. He's going to be our new wide receiver 1. I think put in this position, we could expect reasonably to get similar production. Rondale Moore's been a serviceable wide receiver. 700 yards, 7 touchdowns for Trey McBride, who's really going to have to elevate himself to our second go-to receiver. Him and A.J. Brown are going to be our passing offense going forward. Defensively, we got a bunch of tackles. Myles Garrett with just a disgusting year. 100 tackles, 20 TFLs, 21 sacks. We got 9.5 sacks and 11 TFLs for mcbride. Got that new contract extension. Nolan Smith, the rookie, 7.5 sacks on 6 TFLs. Not bad at all. Emerson leads the team with 2 picks. But that's an all-timer from Myles Garrett. Interesting. Scenarios I didn't think I'd see. Myles Garrett gets his 3rd Defensive Player of the Year award. Also gets D Lineman of the Year. Oh, wow, Nolan Smith, Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's a pleasant surprise. Just a quick look at Alshon Watch. Assuming he plays 1-2 more years, he's going to catch and break Jerry Rice. He's going to be the all-time GOAT. But our final year with Mike Evans and Johnny Manziel together, can we go on a playoff run? It starts with a very tough assignment, a wildcard road game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, it looks like some sort of weather is going on. It is a blizzard, which might favor us with Manziel. Makes him that much trickier to tackle. But Kansas City's Kansas City. This is a very hostile environment and a tricky game to win on the best of conditions, let alone in a blizzard. So both defenses doing a pretty good job through 4 quarters. But again, man, we are looking, praying, if you believe. I'm praying to the Tebows that are, right now, $500 million Manziel to $500 million contract, existing contract, Mike Evans. What can they give us? Season on the line, touchdown gives us the win. Likely a touchdown on this drive. And we got a 4th and 1 coming up. Don't settle for 3. And it's a 3-yard run loss. Why? Would you believe we actually won a Super Bowl before? I would believe that was false. I forced those wins because this team fucking sucks. Manziel, $500 million quarterback, second in passing touchdowns this year. And he goes for 0 touchdowns, barely over 100 yards, below 50% completion percentage. So we thank Mike Evans for his services. 798 catches, 12,000 yards receiving, 137 touchdowns, pairing him with Manziel. Love that we're able to do that in this rebuild. But fuck, man, these guys are just... We got to, not only can we not afford it, we got to freshen this up. Something has to get reinvented here on this offense. Now, the cool news is that Mr. Money Manziel is now a superstar X Factor. Don't know if that's going to make him play any better, and he's at that age now where he's going to start getting a little bit of the regression, which sucks. But in terms of a complete career arc for Johnny Manziel, he has gone on and won a Super Bowl, and he's now a superstar X Factor. We're losing Mike Evans. Perfect time to be losing Mike Evans. He is just starting to regress. Terrible time for A.J. Brown to be our wide receiver 1 as he loses his superstar depth. I think we'll be able to get that back now that he's going to be a wide receiver 1. But definitely a frustrating role of depth traits there. Defensively, Nolan Smith goes from star up to superstar. Gets that right there. Look at that. Beautiful. And with that, though, unfortunately, we're going to have to spend some of these points here to making him a scheme fit, which is never the funnest thing to do, but those are the rules. It's kind of what helps keep the balance. Some of the crazy XPs. Well, I don't have 99s at every single position. Looks like we lost the X Factor on Denzel Ward. He's now down to a superstar, which sucks. But Martin Everson takes the jump from normal up to a star def, so that's very nice. Cool. Still sucks, though. Do think in a perfect world, we would have been able to find a way to keep Mike Evans, but appreciate, all the years of service, almost a decade. So going into the offseason, well, we need a right tackle. We could use any spot on the offensive line, but we need the right-hand side of the offensive line. We need a wide receiver, too. We need... I think our defense could survive. I think with our limited salary cap, if we do spend in free agency, because our drafts are going to suck. We're not, we might get Mike Hall, who could have a depth trade. I don't know. So we're going to have to, spend some of the 55. We got to find a bargain or two. We're at a market where, Ezra Cleveland, 2683 star dev tackle, like a solid starting tackle, $34 million a year. Are you fucking serious? I will spend, though. Andrew Thomas beat on the board. We're going to come with the top offer. All right, we're going to have to pivot. We're going to see you with our tail between our legs. If we can get Taylor Moton to return on a 1-year deal. Would rather not have to go with... okay. No, we'll just... Juwan James had a decent career. He was a solid starter for the Dolphins back in the day. Fuck, man. Why does no one want to sign with us? Mike Evans goes to the Houston Texans. He could have went to the NFC, but we do get Juwan James as a stopgap at right tackle. So we end up with the actual Browns class. I thought they'd be lower in the 60s, to be honest with you. 69 for Briggs, 67 Harden, 66 Watson, 69 for Thrash, 70 for Zinter, and we get 69 with a dev trade for Mike Hall Jr. on the defensive line. But ultimately, how is this class helping us get better and not underwhelm in the playoffs? It doesn't. And now we have to try to do it without Mike Evans. We're getting so close to present day. We are taking over now the 2024 Cleveland Browns. Feels like it wasn't that long ago that happened, because it wasn't that long ago. But huge changes for the offense. We need A.J. Brown, who lost his superstar dev last season, to step up as we no longer have Mike Evans. And also, it's kind of a tandem effort because we need Trey McBride at tight end. He has to be and play like an 8-9 X Factor. Cannot be a passenger on this offense. So we're holding it together. Rondale Moore's a solid wide receiver too. Juwan James is a decent enough Band-Aid. Same with Samia on the right-hand side of the O-line. They're not going to be liabilities. certainly not plus linemen. We get Michael Hall in the draft, which does give us like 3 decent D tackles. Nolan Smith's breakout last year. Him and Myles Garrett. I have no issues about the linebackers. I feel good relatively with the secondary across the board. I think that's absolutely a Super Bowl caliber defense. We have a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, but it's going to be all on and all eyes on A.J. Brown now as our undisputed wide receiver 1. Now, last year, 2023 Browns went 11-6. This year, a little bit more attainable. They went 3-14. So if we get 4 wins, we get to go upgrade a pick. It was a good class. Mason Graham, Carson Schlesinger, Quinton Judkins, Harold Fannin, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. They also had Dylan Sampson. Like, I have no problem with all of those guys being on my roster. But if we can perhaps get an upgraded pick, we may need to take advantage of instead of getting 2 quarterbacks here. You know what I'm saying? Maybe get something a little different than Dylan Gabriel. I don't know. We will see. That was quick. Hitting it before our bye week. We have a 4-1 start to the season, so we get a very early cash in to get a spin the wheel at the end of the year, which, again, I don't even know what direction I'm going to go with that because I think the 2025 Browns draft class pretty damn good. We just, one thing for whatever reason with this series is Sam linebackers. I think it's because it's a new position based off of like kind of an old mod. They're always dirt cheap, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years left. So I'm just going to go ahead and take advantage. I think it offsets because we've also given out some insanely unrealistic. Like, we paid Mike Evans $500 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, that contract doesn't exist. So I think, I think Sam's really the only one. Sometimes you can get corners. Sometimes you can get, like, fringe linemen, like guys that are like 76, 75, 76, but like 25 years old at like just ridiculous deals. But I feel like everyone else, you are kind of overpaying. I think we keep Rondale Moore, man. Obviously, I'm not one to ever like, because he just passed away, let's try to milk him for it's a great story to try and turn him around and like honor him because, truly one of like, I will remember his college mixtape at Purdue for as long as I live. It was some of the most spectacular playmaking out of such a small player. Like, he literally would take games over like Derrick Henry, but he was 5'8", 190 pounds. It was sick. It was incredible. Terrible story. So hey, as long as we can keep trying to, play well with him, we need to do that. I like Tommy Togiai, but the fact that we just drafted Mike Hall, we're just starting to have like a decent pool of salary cap. I don't want to, just keep spending for the sake of spending. Like, again, Joe Schobert, we don't need 3 linebackers. JOK and, what's his name? The linebacker there. Patrick Queen, they're good enough. So Joe Schobert, done his part, but we gotta budget here a little bit. So at the end of the year, very good record. We come the number 2 seed in the AFC North. We get our 4th AFC North title. We go 13-4. We get the Pittsburgh Steelers in the wildcard round. Always a fun matchup. Offensively, slowed down a little bit. Still not terrible. Still playoff caliber. Defense, one of the best in the league. But under 30 touchdowns for Johnny Manziel. The yards are up. The INTs are up. Touchdowns are down. Is he at that age, or are we going to be able to find a way to turn back the clocks here at some point for Johnny Manziel? Didn't get 1,000 yards running the ball with Nick Chubb. That's always a little disappointing. Receiving, though, 2,000-yard receivers, 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns for Rondale Moore, 11 and 11 for A.J. Brown. I hate A.J. Brown in the slot, too, so that's kind of sick that Rondale Moore is an outside receiver. Had that kind of year. Anthony Schwartz was solid. McBride also was solid, but that's probably towing the line of keeping his X factor or not. Wouldn't be surprised if he loses that. Myles Garrett, another great season. 13 TFL, 16 sacks, 12 sacks from Nolan Smith. Matabuike, 5.5. INT numbers, not terrible, not the worst, not the best. And for award winners, we have Pat Shurmur winning another Coach of the Year award, and we got good old Myles Garrett winning another Defensive Player of the Year. I believe that gives him 4 total, 4 in a row, as well as D Lineman of the Year. And I was going for Alshon Jeffrey Watts. He must have retired last year. Oh, man, he was a season away from taking both of those from Jerry Rice. That is nuts. Our first playoff game, not having the Mike Evans, Johnny Manziel combo. But Rondale Moore has emerged. A.J. Brown is ready to take over as wide receiver 1. I'd love to see the offense, passing offense that is, on full display. I want the defense. I want Myles Garrett, who is undisputedly the best defensive player in the league, to prove it here. Take this game over. Keep the Pittsburgh Steelers under 15 points. And it's looking pretty good. We give up, we give up 14 points in the last 2 minutes of the game, which we don't love. And of course, we're going to overtime. We're going to find a way to blow this, because you always do when you're playing the moments. And as predictable as ever, we had Pittsburgh 3 points for 80% of that game. Embarrassing. Fucking embarrassing. So at the end of the season, we lose the X Factor on Johnny Manziel. I can't complain, and he got hit with regression. He's now down to a base 93 rated. We did get a star dev trade for Rondale Moore, very much deserved. We didn't lose the X Factor on Trey McBride, so it could have been a worse roll from the dev trade perspective. On the defensive side of the ball, we lose the superstar on Ward. Everything else remains the same. Well, we get the wheel spin. I have no idea how I'm going to handle this. Honestly, let's see what we roll. If we get BPA, I mean, our D tackle room is pretty good. We might have to pivot off Mason Graham. I don't know. We'll get something good, though. So we lost a little bit going into free agency. We need a probably right tackle, right guard, center. Got to retool the offensive line. Need tight end depth. We need on the defensive side of the ball. I feel good about D tackle, especially if we do stay with Mason Graham, potentially. Corner 3 is a need. And that's it. So it's really, we just got to kind of retool the offensive line here. For free agency, we go out, get some interesting names. We get Walker Little, 2678 at right tackle. Nick Harris, 2674 at center. Both are assumed starters. Alec Pierce was sitting there, and obviously he hasn't had the career that he did IRL. And it's not nearly getting the same amount of money that he just got from the Colts. But I think, Cincinnati, Ohio, need a wide receiver 3. Could do a lot worse. So we are looking for BPA. Mason Graham is the de facto pick. Alternative options, we have T-Mac at wide receiver. I think I probably would take him if everything was equal. But we have our wide receiver 1. We just had Rondale Moore breakout. I don't know if a wide receiver 3 is what we're missing, considering, we have our 2,000-yard receivers. That's about as good as you can get. I want A.J. Brown to maybe take his game to the next level. Trey Zabel on the offensive line, probably a bigger need than defensive tackle. He could be a plug-and-play day 1 starter. Nick Edwards would be really, really fun as well. But honestly, it might come down to contract. Like, who can't I afford to re-sign? Like, I'm good with Nick Chubb. We'll bring in Judkins at running back. Trey McBride will re-sign. We're not going to let an X-Factor tight end walk. Could use, extra guard depth. Manziel's entering a contract year. We'll keep Shedeur. How many years Madubuike have on his deal? So that's 3 years left. You know what? I'm staying with the picks. Mason Graham might be special. This could end up being, in real life, an incredibly special class from the Cleveland Browns. I got to do it. All right, so my BBA's pick, I'm going to go Isaac Tesla, disciplined wide receiver instead of Dylan Gabriel. Just because, it's going to be a dev trade player here. And, literally it's the only other option. There's a look at our draft recap. Ends up being a very, very good class. Dylan Sampson, 71. Shedeur, 68. Tesla, 69. He has a dev trait. Harold Fannin, 73. He has a dev trait. Judkins, 76. He has a dev trait. Schlesinger, he won Defensive Rookie of the Year, right? 76. Dev trait. And Mason Graham, top 5 pick. It's a little generous. Ain't gonna complain. 78. Dev trait. Defensive tackle. Let's go. So now we are at present day for the Cleveland Browns. They went 5-12, but there is no point anymore of doing the spin the wheel, because we are about now to embark in creating our own history now with the Cleveland Browns. We've remade history. We've won the Super Bowl. We've gone to a couple Super Bowls. Johnny Manziel, what if, has been answered. But now we need to, take our own ranks. We got interesting class coming in, like Judkins now at running back. Certainly makes Nick Chubb's future maybe a little shaky as we go forward. We get someone like Harold Fannin. Is he a potential trade candidate? We still could use some picks on the offensive line. I did throw up all these guys. I look more so on the defensive side. I threw Patrick Queen up on the trade block. Still a great player. Didn't like the value I was getting. I threw Mcbride and both Michael Hawks. We don't need 3 great D tackles. The value just sucks. Like, I was trying to get a corner because our corner room's still not the best, and there was just no good corner rolls. And then I could, seek out a corner in a trade, but, every trade offer felt kind of ridiculous for the most part. So, I think we'll keep our depth for this season. I'm going to use Michael Hall as, a depth edge rusher, too. He's 285 pounds, so I think we could get creative with him. But I'm optimistic, man, especially with that huge class we just had. I mean, is Shedeur going to be the successor to Johnny Manziel? Manziel's in a contract year. There's an interesting storyline. But we are caught up to present day as far as the draft class is concerned. So hopefully we don't finish with what are they picking, 6 this year? 5 or 6 this year? Hopefully we play a little bit better than that. But we can draft whoever the hell we want. So go to our bye week, all green for the ratings. A top 10 offense, top 5 defense, 4-2. Yeah, honestly, I think with the full solid green bar there, I thought we'd be a little bit better. With our salary, ooh, boy. Well, okay. We knew with players were coming up for grabs here. So we have Joel Bitonio. We have to wait and see. We have Jabril Peppers. Got to wait and see. Nick Chubb. I think we can go with Judkins. Thank you very much for your service. Martin Emerson's been a very nice success story, but $65 million. Pricey. Definitely pricey. Money Manziel, I don't. That's a brutal contract. That's like a cripple your roster contract. But we do have an insane amount of money. So why don't we do 48 and 43? I don't think we're too far apart. And Trey McBride, even with bringing in Harold Fannin, this is a X Factor player. This is an absolute game changer. We got to try to keep him in the building, which we do. So I think what? We're not far away. I think we get both these guys locked up, and then maybe we go budget-friendly for the rest. Hey, we got to figure it out. Manziel is signed in for 4 years. He's going his full career with the Cleveland Browns. And Emerson's deal is less than 15 a year. I think for still an ascending player who should hit into the 90s at corner. We'll drop a bag on Martin Emerson. But unfortunately, Chubb, probably Peppers. I mean, we're not going to spend that money elsewhere for Joel Bitonio, so let's keep him too. Make him a one-club player like he was in real life. So the end of 2025, Browns went 5-12. Our Browns go 11-6. We finish offensively pretty solid. Defensively, one of the best units in the league. Johnny Manziel. Oh, man. Just not get great return on investment there. There's no other way to put it. Run game still sucks. A.J. Brown is fraudulent. Oh, he's going to request a trade. He's not getting his Hall of Fame numbers. Rondale Moore does go over 1,000 yards. Defensively, pretty solid. No complaints. 13.5 sacks. First time Nolan Smith finishes ahead of Myles Garrett. I'm going to guess probably that stat line. Myles Garrett's going to end his 4-year streak as Defensive Player of the Year. Would have liked maybe a better debut for Mason Graham. Not the end of the world. 6 INTs for Denzel Ward. Where'd everybody else go? But I'm going to be honest, man. I'm thinking at this point we might need a little bit of an offensive scheme change here to add some spark to the offense. And yeah, I mean, when Kenny Dalgate is getting Offensive Player, we didn't have a single award winner. That's telling me all I need to know. We'll let it ride for this playoff run, but after that, unless we win the Super Bowl, I think we're going to have to explore changing up the offense here a little bit. So we get the Raiders. Pretty good offense, not great defense. And yeah, we've lost 3 playoff games in a row, 3 one-and-dones. So I don't know. Optimism's not high. We got ourselves in a 10-0 lead, deficit. Lead quickly being built by the Oakland Raiders. Well, if I've ever need to see proof that our offense needs to change, we are 90 rated in every category. We have a top defense, and our offense goes 3-and-out every drive for the first 3 quarters of the game, pretty much. Yep, that's all I need to see. No one on our offense playing up to their ratings. I just went through that year in real life with the Philadelphia Eagles with Kevin Patullo. I know it needs to be done. And hopefully we get a good roll of available offensive coordinators. Got an overall retirement for the Browns, nothing. But for the league as a whole, we are seeing Mike Evans, after 12 seasons, hang him up. Although will ever be Alshon Jeffrey with his 32 awards, Mike Evans had a hell of a career. Look at these Amendola, Dorial Green Beckham became a thing. That's wild. Alrighty, with this guy here, Mark Whipple. See ya. All right, we got Dan Campbell, Matt Nagy, Sean McVay, ooh, Chip Kelly, Shane Steichen, Stefanski, Doug Peterson, Nick Sirianni, Matt Nagy, Bill Cowher, Urban Meyer, Bill O'Brien, John Gruden, ooh, Mike Barr. I mean, we got to go with the best playbook we possibly can. I won't go Matt Nagy because that's Kansas City. I won't take that amount of cheese. But, I mean, the Colts offense can be good. The Rams offense can be good. I think the Rams are probably the best balance between, I know they're pretty good, but they're not game-breaking. And I believe, was Sean McVay on the Browns coaching staff at some point? I know he was on the Commanders. Either way, come on down. We don't even need to change our scheme, so that makes even more sense this would be your hire. You still want Pat Shurmur as, the architect here. We keep his West Coast zone run. We just get a guy that you call different plays with that scheme. Looking at our team here, as far as dev traits are concerned on the offense, no one went up or down a dev trait, which, given the whelmingness of the season, not terrible. Defensively, Denzel Ward back up to a superstar. I actually thought there might have been a shot that Mason Graham would have been a superstar dev out of the gate. No dev trait. Schweisinger is a star as well. We say goodbye to a couple of long-term starts for us. Nick Chubb leaves, 6,100 yards, 58 touchdowns. We also see Jabril Peppers, our leading tackler, over 800 with 16 TFLs, 11 INTs, 43 PBUs. Appreciate your service, gentlemen. So far, this offseason, I still think, that whole right-hand side of the offensive line could get some TLC. I think the rest of the offense is always pretty good. Defensively, we need that corner three. We need a new starting strong safety. We just got no upgrades at any of these positions that make sense for us at this point. Even going to strong safety, Peppers probably going to be Peppers is the best available, and he ends up going to the Commanders. Appreciate you. What about old Nick Chubb? Was he the top running back? Ooh, he wasn't. He goes to the Green Bay Packers. That means we can draft whoever the hell we want at pick 20. There's no more rules and regulations. We know our... Whoa, Jeremiah Love. Whoa, why is he still there? We need a strong safety. We have a McNeil Warren, Dylan Thieneman, both on the board there. McNeil Warren is a scheme fit. Where's Toledo? Is Toledo in Ohio? Is there that connection there? We also need a corner. We still have Traden Stukes as a fringe player that's available on the offensive line. What do we got from center over? We have Connor Lew, Jake Slaughter, Jalen Farmer, Blake Miller at right tackle. Wouldn't hate that. Wouldn't necessarily lose my mind over it. And the quarterbacks, Mendoza clearly was going to be gone. We have Ty Simpson if you want an alternative option. He could be a play for the Browns. Shit. Well, let's go with McNeil Warren. We need a new starting strong safety. He's a legitimate first-round pick. 28 in true value at pick 20. Rolls a dev trade as well. I think for corner, we have Keontae Scott, the veteran from Miami. Disciplined DB, perfect for the nickel. 33 in true value at pick 52. Big-time athlete as well. Last of our juicy picks, we have Keelan Rutledge at right guard. Looks like he is going to have a nice ceiling to his game. 142 in true value, but we get a dev trait. Alrighty, so take a look at our draft class. McNeil Warren pulls 72 dev trait. Keontae Scott, 71 dev trait. Keelan Rutledge, 68 with a dev trait. Outside of that, then we just get depth. I need depth tackle. We get Isaiah World from Oregon. We go special teams, kicker, punter, long snapper. Long snapper, it's just kind of glitched because I went into the draft class because they're always 26. I'll correct that. Yeah, we had some more depth. Get a big time athlete. Really, really happy with that class. All right, we are now with, we're still pre-draft in real life, but we're with present-day Cleveland Browns. How do you feel about this Browns team in comparison to where the Browns are at real life just before the draft? We have 3 actual Browns in Manziel, Judkins, and Bitonio who are still here as starters. I'm going to go with Rutledge as the starter there at right guard. I think he just has a higher ceiling, and the quicker we get on the field, the closer he'll be able to hit that. But in this scenario, imagine the Browns have Trey McBride. Imagine the Browns having A.J. Brown. That'd be kind of crazy. Defensively, Myles Garrett still killing it. We got Carson Schlesinger. We got Mason Graham, Hall, Ward. I think Emerson actually just left them in free agency. We have Grant Delpit. So a lot of the defense is like the actual Browns defense, which makes sense. They're very good. The offense is where it needs the big changes. But we do have Patrick Queen, did land McNeil Warren. We do have Madubuike, and we have Nolan Smith, who's going to have to get paid probably a pretty big bag coming up. But overall, we got the new scheme. That's kind of where my attention is going towards this year. We have Sean McVay now pulling the strings. Is he going to be able at 33 years old? I don't know how much longer we have left in Manziel. He's never got the team captaincy. Probably the right call there. But let's see if Sean McVay, the same way he did with Matt Stafford, can kind of reinvent a veteran quarterback and get him to play his best football late into his career. So a very quick update with the draft class. We have 2 years left of realistic draft classes through the power of PC mods. We have modded draft classes for 2026, 2027, 2028. Previously, for the last couple 20-year rebuilds that we have done, I have taken these mods that are absolutely top-notch, probably my favorite mod going, in combination with this 2011 mod. And then I've kind of just done my own ratings, modified the ratings so that I like it. Modify the ratings as someone that used to make the top community roster file. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a rating scale a little bit different than the people that make these mods. And I'm slowly picking at the 2026 class because that's when I need to get done. Because once the NFL draft happens, I am going to obviously simulate the draft, use all those picks and players, and put them on teams, and then do, like, you know, our next wave of realistic rebuilds. So with that, I haven't had a chance to go in at this because the mod was re-released, updated with new player portraits and stuff. I haven't been able for 2027, 2028, and most of 2026, to be honest, the draft that we just had, to get the ratings where I like them and get the players, stuff like that, where I like them. So I am using someone else's ratings. That's why you may see Marcel Reed as a top 5 pick and Lenora Sellers as a second, third rounder. So if you see for 2027, 2028, any player ratings that you absolutely disagree with, don't even bother commenting because they're not my ratings. It's a work in progress. Well, mixed bag. We're 3-4. Growing pains of having the new offense, but like Johnny Manziel's playing well. We're getting our most expensive player playing his best football. So I think that we're at least at a growing pains where it's like, let's see it out. It's not immediately like this sucks, we have to revert. Let's get O'Neal here, locked in 3 years, keep our left tackle, make him a one club guy. I think if Batoni wants to just keep taking 1-year deals, we'll keep offering him the veteran left-hand side of the offensive line. Hopefully comes back to run it back for one more year. Well, with $80 million of cap, we actually might be able to get a big fish in free agency if one presents itself. For the season, we go 12-5, and I thought my initial reaction was we missed the playoffs, but 12-5 was good enough this year to get the 1 seed and win our 6th divisional title. We ended with a top 5 offense, top 10 defense, and Sean McVay does exactly what he's doing. A.J. Brown, leading receiver, Johnny Manziel with his, might be like our second best passing year, but it's been a very long time since he's played like this. 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, 14 picks. We're getting the Matt Stafford treatment. Go over 1,000 yards. But with the rushing touchdown, you get 7. This is a perfect scheme for Johnny Manziel. What could have been if we made this move a little bit sooner. But A.J. Brown dominates. Rondale Moore was solid. Trey McBride was solid. Defensively, JOK leads the team in tackles. 15.5 sacks, Myles Garrett. 11.5, Nolan Smith. 8 from Madubuike. 5.5 on 10 TFLs for Mason Graham. Not bad. INT numbers. Could have been better. Could have been worse. Manziel comes 3rd in MVP voting, just behind Baker Mayfield, who's had a hell of a career, and Justin Herbert. Our only award winner goes to Pat Shurmur, and we're going to give that one really just to John McVay. Because we're getting like a point of reflection here as we're kind of caught up to present day. Johnny Manziel's now the all-time leading passer. Has all the major stats there for the Browns. We have Mike Evans as receiving. We have Mr. Myles Garrett with the sacks with 150. In terms of single season, I'm surprised. I mean, we just haven't had great rushing numbers to really challenge the great Jim Brown. A.J. Brown this year sets the Browns record for receiving yards in a single season as well as receptions. In the division round, we get the Bill Belichick Bowl. Browns, Patriots. Patriots have a top 5 defense. They go 9-8, but I'm excited to see what this new McVay offense can do in the sim. Surely it's not going to be disappointing, right? Come on. Manziel was electrifying this year. 40 touchdowns. A.J. Brown was unstoppable. Surely that is what we're going to see. We have a turnover. We're down 14-0. There we go. We'll fight back. You know, come on. Top 10 offense, top 10 defense. Oh, it's fucking agonizing. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know if we're going to be able to ever win another Super Bowl with Manziel. I'd like to think, though, that this season is, you know, his way of reinventing himself offensively. But again, like, that is just fucking broken numbers. Like, why are you so dog shit when we use this method of simming through our games? And we're getting to that point where missed opportunities. The fact that we've lost 5 playoff games in a row since our 2021 Super Bowl loss. Joe Bitonio, Brian O'Neill, Myles Garrett. These guys aren't getting younger. And they're going to start Denzel Ward. Yep. Johnny Manziel. Like, we're on borrowed time with him as well. Here we go. Bitonio finishes as the GOAT left guard. Congrats to him. Looking at our team, we get A.J. Brown back up to a superstar. No dev trait for Manziel. We lose the X factor on Trey McBride. We have the retirement to Joel Bitonio, so that now makes left guard a big-time priority for us. Free agency draft, whichever way we can get after. I really thought Johnny Manziel would go back up to an X factor. Really, really. And it's just, no, actually, it's 10 points of regression. Nothing, you know. Lose a lot of good stats, but it wasn't like we got like -3 throw power or -3 or 4 any of the accuracy. So we can survive that. We can endure that. On the defensive side of the ball, no dev traits up or down. Going to free agency, guard, center, right tackle are like the upgradable positions. So at center, great. Not much there at all. Well, I think we're good there. We go into the 2027 draft. Guard, center, right tackle. That is who we want. Looking at the players that are available. Yikes. We did scout Laolu. He's around. I'd love to get him at some point. As far as guards, we have Ernest Green, Georgia, double Bs, disciplined. Or we go Ohio State, BC, disciplined. I mean, they're both not scheme fits. All right, we'll go here. And then, honestly, I'm thinking about trading up, grab a center. Get that center. All right, I'm going to send a whole bunch to the Bucs to get the first pick of the second round. No messing around now that we have a somewhat control over our draft. If there's someone good, especially at a position of need, we go and get them. So we end up getting Wayman Jordan from USC. Rest of the draft just adding depth, you know, on both sides of the ball through the trenches. But the first 2 picks are going to be day 1 starters for us. 2027, another year in McVay's system. We have youth now on the offensive line, so it's looking like that is going to be kind of set for the rest of the rebuild for the most part. Defensively, the big thing this season, we got to pay Nolan Smith. I have no idea what that number is going to look like. It's probably going to be pretty painful, but let's just hope our offense plays like it did last year and continues that form into the playoffs so we can end this, you know, 6-year losing streak first round of the playoffs. Because we're due for the playoffs, something look like this. Week 2. Belt to ass on the Houston Texans. 6 touchdowns from Manziel. How come every time we fucking watch him in the first round of the playoffs, he struggles to get 100 yards and a touchdown? So look at our contracts. Nolan, well, that's actually not bad at all. I thought it was honestly going to be double that. So we'll lock him in. We got old Myles Garrett. We'll just round that up just to see if that's enough to get this one over the line. Absolute legend, A.J. Brown. You know, now that the passing offense is figured out, I think it's worth keeping him in the building, even though from an age perspective, maybe not the best. Mike Hall, Matabuike. I mean, right, it's on the wall. Mike Hall, higher upside. So let's get him locked in for the rest of the rebuild. I think 4 years will do it. Let's go. But there will be some turnover. Like, you know, Patrick Reed's been great for us, but with Schweisinger and JOK, we don't really need 3 expensive linebackers. I think we could finally look to upgrade that right tackle. Bobby Walker, that's not bad, though. For a 2-year deal and a guy that wants to relatively stay here, I think maybe we'll come back and get that one over the line, too. Surely there's no way that we are back-to-back 1 seed. And in a span of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons, of those 6 seasons, 3 times now, we have been the 1 seed with a first-round bye. There is no way we make it 6 straight playoff losses. We're brownsing this up. A.J. Brown, leading receiver. Johnny Manziel, you know, the hiring of mcvay has done exactly what it needs to do. Hell, it's even elevate the run game. Even our passing numbers are way better, and it's opening up to get our running backs to 1,000 yards. They just haven't been able to hit that threshold consistently. A.J. Brown is crushing it. He's so happy now that he's getting stats. Probably doesn't give 2 shits that we're not winning. 15.5 sacks, Nolan Smith. 12 for Myles Garrett on 17 TFLs. mcbride was solid in his final year here with us in the Browns. Emerson led the team with 3 picks, but I'd like to see the INTs be a little bit better. I feel like I say that every year. Manziel, they hate him, man. Just will never give this guy any MVP love. Matt Sherman gets another coach of the year, even though everyone knows that's pretty much mcvay back-to-back for him. Oh, look at that. Offensive player of the year and wide receiver of the year going to A.J. Brown. That should be X factor at the end of the year. So now we welcome the Houston Texans in the divisional round. They went 11-6. They have a slightly higher rated offense. Pretty damn good, though. Top 5 offense, top 5 defense. We need to stop the bleeding, though. Can't have 6 straight L's in the playoffs. Especially this one being at home. Here in Cleveland, we have a 95 rated defense. One of the best rebuild defenses we've ever had. Keep that in mind in case, you know, we lose by 30 points again. But I really don't know what to do. This is just like, it's just the Browns are the Browns. We should be lucky that we won 1 Super Bowl in 20 years. Been to 2. How is the offense so fucking bad? Okay, we're just going to get 40 touchdowns. That's every time. Every time. Manziel's stat line fucking looks like that. Snow game or not, that is not a valid excuse this time. I'm going to be honest with you. I hope he retires. I'm ready for something else. Regressed a shit ton, down to an 87 now. Maybe Shedeur gives us a better chance in the playoffs. I don't know. Yes, in case he does retire, 59,000 yards passing, 456 touchdowns to 124 picks. Never really got the scrambling numbers that you'd assume you'd have in a Johnny Manziel career, but I don't know, man. This is embarrassing in the playoffs. It, like, literally can't get any worse. It's not Manziel this time, but Brian O'Neill, after a decade in the league, retires, making left tackle a top priority for us this offseason. We get A.J. Brown and Johnny Manziel, both up to Superstar X Factors. Where the fuck's that in the playoffs, boys? You guys got 80 touchdowns the last 2 regular seasons. And the last 6 playoff runs, you have like 5 touchdowns. But yeah, as you can see, left tackle is a need for us. Defensively, we're going to lose mcbride, but we have the cover there. I feel good about our secondary. Feel good about the linebacker. Schlesinger is going to, him and JOK will be our 2 primary linebackers. Nolan Smith's now up to a Superstar X Factor. Love to see that. So I wouldn't mind shopping for a tackle on the open market. We have a lot of salary cap with $190 million. Blake Fisher could do 190. Let me just make sure Manziel didn't like sneaky retire. Okay, no, he didn't. So yeah, we could go get Fisher there to play left tackle. Okay, yeah, no, I think that would work. Oh yeah, we come with the biggest offer and we get him 3-year deal. His best football is still ahead of him. Let's go to the draft, our final draft of realistic players, so we can't manipulate the board the way that, I don't want to say manipulate's the best word to describe, but you know what I'm saying. We have things open up a little bit once we get to the Madden generated classes. Looking at the positions of need for us. I mean, A.J. Brown's not getting any younger. Vernell Brown, we have Andrew Marsh. Some interesting names. Don't know if it's the time. I feel good about our O-line for the first time in a minute. Defensively, do we need to start worrying about Myles Garrett retiring? If so, we do have Jaden Woods, a disciplined player. D-tackle room, I feel good about that. Linebacking room, we did just lose Queen, but we have 2 good linebackers that I feel pretty happy about. Denzel Ward's not getting any younger. We got Xavier Lucas. Not really anyone here screaming, draft me in the first round. Safety room, Grant Delpit's not getting younger. Jonah Williams from Texas. You have Hoiser from Miami, who last time we drafted him, he was an X factor out the gate. Jonah Williams makes some sense. Aaron Flowers also could be in play. If Delpit's going into his last year, I think I will grab that safety. Let me just double check here, because if not, or Delpit. Yeah, so it is Delpit. Corner market's not the best. So Jonah Williams, come on down. Whoa, top 10 player, let's go. That was a huge gift for us in the first round, kind of future-proofing the secondary. JKS, again, not my class. It was, let's grab a quarterback here. Thought the rating might be a little bit better. We get John Curry at linebacker from Texas Tech. Just adding depth, really. Jonah Williams is the belle of the ball, and I thought there'd be more value with JKS, but is what it is. Shedeur, firmly our quarterback 2 still. We're now in year 18 of the rebuild. Could be Johnny Manziel's final season as far as statistically, him and Sean McVay on the same page. He's playing as good a football as he has at any point in his career during the regular season. But not to sound like a broken record, this team has to get one more playoff, like more than one. Like that's how low it is. This team, I usually have the expectation Super Bowl or bust. I will take literally one playoff win as a successful season. Go to the bye week with the #1 defense in the league offensively. At least the passing offense is in a really, really good spot. $170 million of salary cap, which definitely have felt that. Haven't really been able to acquire too much talent in terms of free agency. Was happy that we were able to get Blake Fisher last season, but it's going to allow us to re-sign a lot of our young core. Like the current core of the actual Browns right now, we are at that stage where we want to keep all these guys. So we're going to get them locked in for the rest of the rebuild. Mason Graham, Judkins, Schlesinger. I mean, you think we can get Denzel Ward to go the full rebuild 2 years without retiring? I think the same could be said here for Rondale Moore. We have more than enough money. He's one of those guys where it's like, big picture, maybe we can get someone a little bit better. But if we let him walk, he's definitely going to be the best wide receiver available in free agency. So I think we come back to the table there. Harold Fannin, we have Trey McBride. We don't need 2 tight ends. Grant Delpit, very good player. But we just drafted a first-round pick to take over for him. I do think, though, my emergency is Shedeur at quarterback. If and when Manziel retires, it could get us out of a tricky situation in terms of our quarterback spot. We've been here, done that. First round bye, #1 seed, 14-3, our second best regular season record of the rebuild. #2 offense, #3 defense. We've seen it before. It just hasn't mattered. I can't get excited the fact Manziel is crushing. Now, INT's a little high, but the output is very good. Judkins is coming off his best year. A.J. Brown is dominating. Now, we got to probably find a way to utilize Trey McBride a little bit more. But as long as A.J.'s eating like that, everyone else is kind of happy. Myles Garrett looked like he was slowing down. Hit us with the psych. 20.5 sacks. We got 16.5 for Mason Graham, which is ridiculous for a defensive tackle. Yeah, that's a bargain if he keeps playing like that with the contract extension we just gave him. 15 sacks, Nolan Smith. Denzel Ward, ageless wonder with 4 picks, leading the team. Outstanding defense. Like, that is a Super Bowl winning defense right there. We can ride them as long as Manziel gives us even 50% of what he's been playing like in the regular season. Another Coach of the Year award for Pat Shurmur. We get Offensive Player of the Year and Wide Receiver of the Year going to A.J. Brown, as well as Defensive Player of the Year and D Lineman of the Year going to Myles Garrett. Mason Graham right there with them, top 3 voting. So because I think for Manziel, every year could be his last. This is kind of where his career stats are looking at. Very close to getting 500 total passing touchdowns. Well over that if you combine the rushing. A.J. Brown over 10K and 100 receiving touchdowns. We have Myles Garrett over 1,000 tackles, 190 TFLs, 184 in the sack department. He runs it back for another year, too. I think that all-time sack record could be his, at least the old one. Denzel Ward, another guy. One more year would be cool to see him go over 1,000 tackles, 20 picks, 64 PBUs. That's been incredible. Just an idea of the record book. It is still 200. So that is well within Myles Garrett's sight if he can play one more year, if not two. Close out the rebuild. We're gonna... If we lose this, now they're a good team. 89s across the board, but it is a below 500 Dolphins team. They're actually really, really good. They got Joe Burrow, T. Hig. Okay, well, let's see how we're gonna lose this one. I'll hop in for sure one drive if things start getting a little dog shitty. We've endured enough. That's like, all right, C4, you interjecting is just gonna make it realistic. Look at this. Okay, look, our team's doing something. They've come alive. 14-0 at halftime. Do not blow a 17-0 lead. We have the best defense in the league, so we can ride that. But we've had top 3, top 5 defenses before, and it has not mattered. But this time, our team has at least kind of put it all together. We're not going to be one and done. We are in the AFC Championship, 30-7, belt to ass over the below 500 playoff Miami Dolphins. Look at that performance from John. That is better than the last 6 playoffs combined in one game. He exploded. In the AFC Championship game, we get the New England Patriots, who are literally, that's not a good team. Barely a top 10 offense. Nothing else in the green. It's a good path. This is a very favorable path for us en route to a potential Super Bowl. Don't blow it. I'm at Huntington Bank Field. Browns fans haven't been this excited in a very long time. They truly think this is their year to get back to a Super Bowl. Try to make it 3 Super Bowls in 18 seasons, which is a hell of a record. We got a 1-point lead, I think, going into halftime. Yes, it stands. Quick score for us. Get points to start the second half. Patriots aren't going away. Touchdown, 2-point conversion. I think this maybe we just watch sim. You know, see if they can work their way down. Oh, we're going to start with a sack. We're going to follow it up with a run. We're going to follow that up. 13 yards. A.J. Brown. And there we go. The dag. Well, not a dagger. There's still plenty of time left. But A.J. Brown on very well. Maybe his future in real life team. Huge go-ahead score. And now it's time for the defense. Myles Garrett sacks Jameis Winston. They actually got a huge 4th down conversion, but too little, too late. The Browns are back in the Super Bowl, 28-21 over the Patriots. And I think Manziel, just from kind of looking at that, played well again. 4 touchdowns. He's on fire. In the Super Bowl, we get the 13-4 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have a top 10 offense. They have the #1 defense in the league. This is 1 seed versus 1 seed. Predictable playoffs. Let me get a little scouting report here on the Bucs, right below us. Trevor Lawrence, solid. Advantage us, though. I think Manziel definitely advantage us. Jeremiah Love in the backfield. I'll give them the advantage running back-wise. But it's close. Judkins is good. Wide receivers, they have DJ Moore, Jeremiah Smith, and Jackson Smith and Jigba. So, at least from name value, terrifying. Absolutely advantage them, even though AJ... I'd say advantage as a wide receiver room to them. But we have the best wide receiver in this game in A.J. Brown. Their O-line solid. They only gave up 29 sacks. Their pass rush is not the greatest. And, I mean, yeah. So, while they played well schematically, the talent on defense isn't scary. It's not putting fear in my eyes. I think this is our time. Look at our team. Look at our roster. Let's get that second Super Bowl in. Because there's a chance at the end of this game. And we'll get the walkouts just in case this is. Johnny Manziel, Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. The big 3 that we've had. The consistent 3, the 3 superstars. This could be their last game. They are all at that time. This was a regular rebuild. We did the Browns last week. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward retired at the same time. So let's see what we can do against Trevor Lawrence and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa strikes first. We go down, have to settle for a field goal. Touchdown. We get a 3-point lead. Hopefully we can bring that into halftime or more. How did we get no points there? Defense bails us out. Very ugly game. I'm seeing a lot of missed opportunities. We've been in the red zone 3 times, and we walked away with 7 points on 3 drives. Not great. And we are just loving settling for field goals. Let's try to run this up. This game's over. We have won the Super Bowl 2017. They have 1 timeout. It is first down. Let's get a nightcap here. Let's finish this thing out right. In case it is Manziel's final Super Bowl, final game. Let's get him 1 more touchdown. We'll go to Rondale Moore. Awesome. Johnny Manziel, well on his way to a Super Bowl MVP. Almost 350 yards passing. Final timeout for Tampa. I think what better way for Johnny Manziel. Scramble it. Takes it in. I hope it's not the end. I love Johnny Manziel. I love all these guys. They got 2 more years left of this rebuild. I think they could do it. There is a role. There is a scenario. No one retires. But if this is the final hurrah to cap it off with our 2nd Super Bowl win together, you know, we're pretty badass. Great way to end it, even though it's not the actual end of the video. 27-17, our 2nd Super Bowl in 18 seasons, 3rd Super Bowl appearance. I think by almost any measurement, you could call this a successful rebuild, on top of 8 divisional titles. 1, 2, 3, 4 1 seeds. Gushed it, man. And I am worried. My gut says Myles Garrett retires. I think Denzel Ward and Manziel return. I think Myles Garrett retires, which would suck because Myles Garrett has the sack record in his sights. I think knowing Myles Garrett and sticking it with the Browns, I think personally Myles Garrett will probably return to try to break that record. But there we go, boys. Super Bowl champs. We don't have to do a deep dive. Very clearly, Super Bowl MVP is going to be, well, maybe not. Let's double check. Johnny Manziel, 341 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Also had a rushing, so 3 touchdowns. Rondale goes over 100. Defensively, you know, everyone kind of chips in and does their part. But Super Bowl MVP, Money Manziel. Let's keep it here live. Simming to the retirement week. We didn't get a lot of salary cap, but I think someone did retire. That is like one guy retired amount of salary cap. Selfishly, I would say Denzel Ward would be the one that I'd be the least pissed off about. Oh, let's go. They're running it back. All right, that is sick. And we keep the dev traits on Manziel and Brown. Very, very happy with that. Defensively, yep, dev traits. Graham takes the step up here to superstar, living up to the billing. I think we can run this back. I think we might be able to stack a couple more Super Bowls to finish this video out. To go to the offseason, we need, I think maybe a long-term right tackle could be in play. A wide receiver 3, especially with A.J. Brown not getting any younger. But those are, you know, that's, you know, free safety. We're going to go with Williams and McNeil. We're good there. We kind of future-proof that position. We're great. Like, literally, it's like, all right, Denzel Ward could retire. Myles Garrett could retire. Think about if they do retire, we still have 1 year left. If they're only giving us 1 more year, future-proof those positions, right tackle and 3rd wide receiver. But for agency, we were able to get that 3rd wide receiver, Evan Stewart, Oregon Duck, 2580 with a dev trait. We get him on a real affordable deal. So everything else, let's look towards the draft. Yeah, I didn't take actually a peek at the final mock draft. I hope our board's not completely shot. Tackle, edge, corner. It's kind of where we're looking at. Yes, we still have one of the tackles get it. Javier Kirkpatrick from Auburn. Good discipline. Double C's, though. Like, not over the moon, but he does have the bench press that I usually feel pretty good about. Elite change of direction. Do we prepare for right tackle? Now, he's not a scheme fit, so knowing the house rules, we'd have to kind of build that up a little bit. Very surprised this guy's still on the board. Ryan Gunter. We want to get a Myles Garrett successor, a disciplined pass rusher, A finesse B tackle. Not like a freak of nature athlete, but looks like a damn good pass rusher that's usually absolutely never available at pick 32. Or at corner, the play here is this guy, Peter Sutton. Where is he going to go? Because if you know, you know. I don't know how he's this. This is maybe the weirdest built corner. If I can get him in the 2nd round, which I think we could. There's enough buffer there. I can get, I think this pass rusher, we'll go him there, and get that corner in the 2nd round. I'm going to be very happy with this draft. Gunter ends up being 15 in true value, and you get the understudy for Myles Garrett. Let's go, Peter Sutton. Come on down. Trust me. Trust. Perfect corner 3 for us. We crushed the whole draft. 74 center, 71 a wide receiver, 73 guards. I mean, now they are the positions that I'm not going to brag that I found good players at. But Sutton with the dev trait, Gunter with the dev trait, home runs at positions of need. Year 19 of 20 loading up the 2029 season. Could it be the last of Johnny Manziel, 36 years old, off a Super Bowl win, his second off of a Super Bowl MVP. I would love for him to go the full rebuild. 2 more years, but if this is the final year, let's appreciate what we have while we have it. The offense looks very, very good. I don't think at any point we've had a super team, but we've been pretty close. Like, I'm not also going to just act like we haven't had 90-plus rated offense and defense for most of, like, at least the second half of this rebuild. But, you know, we've done it the right way. I have a perfect mix of players that we won by the spins that are going to always give us a unique experience. But I also think a lot of the homegrown players, the actual Browns, I'm really happy that these guys are, like Martin Emerson has contributed. Mason Graham has taken his game to another level. He looks like an absolute monster. We got Myles, Garrett, Schlesinger, all these other players now Super Bowl champions as a group. We got 2 years left. I'd like to get away with one more. It's been a little bit of a mixed bag, 4-3, but when our offense is potent, this felt like the best time to say, look, we still have it in us. Yes, Johnny's old, but he can turn back the clock here. 5 touchdown performance in an absolute ass kicking over the Arizona Cardinals. Looking at the contracts. Who wants to go the full rebuild? I think Trey McBride, absolutely worth it, even if the production hasn't justified it. Keelan Rutledge has been an awesome draft pick for us. We'll get him in a 4-year deal. I don't want to have. Really, everybody that is a starter, we are going to try to retain with 1 year remaining left in the rebuild. I don't think we're too far out from Keontae Scott. Johnny Met, please, 1 more year, buddy. Come on. 1 more. You don't want to, go the full thing. Don't be a coward. We have our special teams. We have at tackle there Walker Little. Probably keep him at tackle as well. But know that we are going to 1 year. If there is a bigger upgrade in free agency, we could just double up on the position. But the reality is we have the influx of money. The fact that Johnny Manziel's not on, we've paid him, almost $1 billion in this rebuild worth of contracts. The fact that now his number is at like $12 million. It's giving us, imagine with the salary cap going up, we'll probably have close to $100 million to gear up for like a year 20 final Super Bowl type run. Well, we lost 4 in a row. We were 9-4. I was like, oh man, we might get the 1 seed. We lost 4 in a fucking row. At least Johnny Manziel and A.J. Brown did their part. Even then, though, the yards, passing touchdown is certainly not there. 14th in yards for the 36-year-old Money Manziel. Judkins was solid. We got 2,000-yard receivers. Almost 3. So, production is at the right spot. Huge year from Schlesinger. 153 tackles, 8 TFLs, 2 sacks, 4 picks, 16.5 sacks, Myles Garrett, 15.5 for Nolan Smith, 7 for Mason Graham. And those are the INT numbers. Myles Garrett, check. Holy shit, dude. 200.5 sacks, which they better update that. I don't know if we're just a little early. They don't give him that because he has to come back for 1 more year. If not, give it to him. Bruce Smith does not have 200.5. We get 1 award winner. Carson Schlesinger gets linebacker of the year. Very much deserved. Had a hell of a season. To defend our Super Bowl crown, it starts in the wild card at home. Going to run the gauntlet against the Miami Dolphins. Joe Burrow-led Miami Dolphins. But I'll be honest, expectations are incredibly low. Losing 4 in a row, we have negative momentum rolling into the playoffs. Enough to probably just piss away any momentum defending Super Bowl champion moniker would give this team. But we know the talent is in there. All it takes for us to get hot. We can win 4 in a row just as easily as we can lose 4 in a row. And I think we are just, as a roster, a little too much for the Miami Dolphins here. We have the veteran experience. Manziel against Burrow. Ooh, I think we're going to get this one across the line here. Very much so. Lacking in the convincing that we can actually go win it all. But a win's a win. Ugly wins count the same as pretty wins. And Johnny Manziel willed this team across the line. In the division round, we get a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. We get the 13-4 Patriots. We're traveling to Foxborough. They have a great run game, one of the best defenses in the league, and they're looking for revenge from last season. Look at the team ratings, man. Especially the difference in offense. So let's go, boys. Gillette Stadium. Looking good. Looking ugly. Looking like, you know, the type of ugly we need to make this game to likely win. 2 straight scores for the Patriots. We need a touchdown on this drive. Man, that's the fucking death note right there through this play of the moment sim. Is when you settle for a field goal when clearly no sane person would. Literally, that tied the game. We get a touchdown there. It's interesting. We settle for a field goal. They don't give up. Dante Moore's the quarterback there. And, well, yeah, you know, not going to win many games that your offense can't move the football and your defense can't stop their quarterback. I mean, I've had any crazy retirements. So that's not a lot of salary cap. Fuck, come on, you coward. I needed 1 more year, Johnny. Is he the greatest quarterback in this save? There's a chance. I couldn't think of it. Andy Dalton is number 1 in this ridiculous timeline. Johnny Manziel 2, Russell Wilson 3, Mahomes 4, Stafford 5, Bradford 6, Deshaun 7, Mariota 8, RG3 9, and Rodgers 8. And then just on the outside, some outrageous names that you'd never think you'd see. What is? I was gonna say, yeah, okay. Alshon's had to be, yeah, literally like game breaking. But what a run! And now we get to finish final year with Shedeur Sanders. All right, well, we're ready. That's why we've kept Shedeur Sanders. We are ready for him to step up and shock the world and get us a Super Bowl win in year 20. Rest of the offense, good to go. Defensively, shout out Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward finishing out this rebuild. We have other options. Mendoza's staring us in the face. We're going with Shedeur. I'm going to be honest, man. There is not really any upgrades. Like a point or two here or there. I mean, bringing back K. York at kicker, like just kind of min-maxing our special teams is literally the only area that I think we can go. So I might as well just do that. We're going to have the most cracked special teams, my guy. Maybe that's what we need. That's the missing piece right there. To give you guys one last pick, let's just grab a quarterback for the hypothetical future. This guy looks sick. Tommy McKee, strong arm quarterback, Texas Tech. Second, third round downs, so the rating's probably not crazy, but 2 Bs, 2 As, elite throw power, can't run for shit, not a dual threat. But that looks like, you know, if this rebuild was going 30 years, I would prepare for, in case Shedeur's not the guy, this could be the guy. Cannon of an arm. A howitzer. I still think we go with Shedeur. Shedeur's almost an 80 overall. Right? All things considered. But, you know, if we go to midseason and it's looking like not great, we do have at least an option B right now with Tommy McKee. So year 20 is here. It is Shedeur's time. Finally gets the keys to the Lamborghini. Is he going to cross the finish line first place, or are we going to crash in a ditch akin to Myles Garrett come training camp? See, I have some Brown references, okay? Not a Browns fan. I mean, let's rock and roll, man. This team's good to go. So stoked that Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward didn't retire. Garrett, Nolan, Smith, incredible. Schweisinger's maybe one of the best defensive players in the league. Sucks that Mason Graham here regressed a little bit. Looked like he was kind of taking his game to another level. Took a step back. But, I mean, across the board, this is a defense that does not have a single weakness. This is an offense that, outside of quarterback, has more than enough talent to go to a Super Bowl run. It's just, how far can Shedeur take us in the final year? Fuck! We're 1-5. All right, 1-5. This is why the season's not over, but we have this as our option in case this inspires the team for the second half of the year. Well, shit! We should have started at the beginning. We finished 8-9, the classic wet fart to end the rebuild. But, you know, what a turnaround! Go from 1-5 to 8-9, 7-4. I know my math not be bad, but I'm going to assume that we would have went with that rookie quarterback. He probably wouldn't have gotten 1-5 whole. And what would have got us into the playoffs? Last spot, 9 wins. So, like, literally, if we had even one more, we would have been in the discussion, the tiebreaker. I mean, my expectations were very modest when Johnny Manziel could not complete the rebuild. Shout out A.J. Brown, another big-time year. Shout out Nolan Smith. Shout out Myles Garrett. Shout out Mason Graham. Shout out Myles Garrett, now the all-time sack leader. Able to achieve that within the rebuild. As far as the Browns are concerned, Johnny Manziel, I mean, he's been there for a minute. A.J. Brown caught up to Mike Evans, though, for receiving yards and receptions, but Big Mike holds the touchdown record. We have, in a single season, pretty much every record not running the football and or picks, because picks are horrific in the sim. I suppose maybe career stats with the team that's left. Judkins, 5,900 yards, 48 touchdowns. A.J. Brown, just under 15,000 receiving yards, over 1,000 catches, 122 touchdowns. Rondale Moore's had an incredible career. Trey McBride has been very good. More peaks and valleys than maybe I would have liked in his production, but drafting him as a wheel spin and developing him into an X Factor was pretty sick. Defensively, Myles Garrett, I mean, one of the best stat lines you'll ever see in a Madden sim. Denzel Ward and JOK all going over 1,000 total tackles. We got 107 sacks for Nolan Smith. That combo, him and Myles Garrett, absolutely terrifying. 48 sacks, Mason Graham. Again, kind of like Trey McBride in a sense. So there's been a lot of peaks and valleys, but the peaks have certainly hit. 24 picks for Denzel Ward on 73 PBUs. 13 picks, Martin Emerson on 51 PBUs. Both those guys awesome. Great tandem. Also, shout out Joe Hayden. What a DB he was. Well, thank you guys very much for tuning in to a new Madden 26 20-year rebuild. I hope you guys did enjoy. My apologies in the delay between the last 20-year rebuild and this one. I know you guys have been loving this series. I love making the series. This is my favorite content that I'm making this year. It's just so hard to make it. It takes forever. It's something that, like, for my work shift where it's like 9 to 5, impossible to, like, it literally be like, oh, no videos for 5 days if I just want to focus on getting this out as fast as possible. Best way for this to work is I kind of do regular videos and then like an hour or two a night or two, I can pick on this throughout the weeks, and then every week and a half, I can have a new 20-year rebuild out. That is my plan. It's just obviously I've shared that there are stuff going on in my life with my brother, and there's just been way too much stuff going on in the evenings for me to consistently work on. Like, this video has literally been 3 weeks in the making. I've worked on pieces of this video throughout. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but the outfit changes. Like, I started this video in March. That's kind of where I'm at. We're finishing it on April 21st. But I do hope that, now that we're at that point, the Yeti series is probably going to be wrapping up soon. We got another year of that. We have the new realistic rebuilds that happen after the draft is completed. But other than that, like, my time will be towards making more 20-year rebuilds. So I hope you guys are pumped for that. Let me know in the comment section below what team you guys want to see next. Like, the top comment last time was Johnny Manziel and the Browns. Run it back. We did it. We did the shit out of that. We've done RG3 in the Commanders, Washingtons. We've done Andrew Luck in the Colts. Who's next? I already know people are going to be screaming for the Eagles. But if there's any other teams you guys want to see passionately, please make your case, plead your case in the comment section below. If not, just comment for the YouTube algorithm, because in my incredibly biased opinion, this is the best Madden franchise content that is going live here right now on YouTube's. So I very much appreciate you guys for checking it out, stopping by and supporting the channel. And that'll do for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out, love ya. Have a good one.